Hey, hey!
Hello and welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and all those in between and beyond that binary of the internet, and welcome to Neon Lights Roleplay. More specifically, welcome to Against the Light, a Kingdoms and Warfare story. I am your game maestro for the duration of the stream. You can call me Young Foxy. And I have with me 4 daring adventurers, 4 noble souls, 4 members of the House Vairdans High Council, who I would like to introduce themselves in the overlay order, which I will call you out one at a time. And as I call you out, please mention who you are, who you're playing today, where the internet can find you, and yeah, that's it for now, actually. So just those 3 things. Let's go ahead and start. Over on your far left, I am very happy to have them here, finally, to join in Neon Lights' long-running campaign. You've seen them in A Blade's Will, but finally stepping into the full reins of a Neon Lights campaign, it is the one and only Legendary Vermin. Please introduce yourself to the Coast. Please.
Hello, everybody. I'm Legendary Vermin. I can be found anywhere on the internet that matters, which is, of course, Itch, Twitch, and Twitter as Legendary Vermin. And tonight I am playing Fane Hemlock, the Harpy Warlock, representing the Fey Court at our noble court.
The court is happy to have its Fey emissary ever to deal with the darker, more magical elements of the world, those more far beyond those of the mortal ken. Moving around and to your left, appearing for the first time in a Neon Lights Roleplay long-term campaign. You've seen them just once on our channel in a one-shot, and they are very, very happy to have them here. We are happy to have them here. Please give all your love and chat hype to Shouse. Say hi to everybody, Shouse. Tell them who you're playing. Introduce yourself to the cast.
Everybody, I'm Chouse. I will be playing Rio Branshaw, our little courageous rogue, who likes to do rogue things. His parents are still alive, so not that much rogue.
Not that much.
Not too edgy.
Rogue. Not that edge.
But alas,
listen, we've got edge, but safe edge.
Alas, what is done in the light must always come with shadow. What is done with open hand and political negotiation must also be done with darker deed and those that go masked. And thus, the court is happy to have its master of espionage. Moving on from there and directly across your screen, appearing for the second time now in a Neon Lights Roleplay long-term campaign, returning from In His Divine Name, we are absolutely happy to have you back and so glad to have you here. Please give so much love and chat hype to the one and only Meg Mysterio. Please introduce yourself to the cast.
Hello everybody, I am Meg Mysterio, and tonight I'm going to be playing Lydia Evermore, our resident house historian and sorceress.
Those who are known to keep knowledge and keep the darker secrets often keep some secrets themselves, but that may be something we get to in time. And last, but certainly anything but least, returning to the Neon Lights Roleplay campaign stage for the second time from the Seven Sons, we are absolutely happy to have another org member here, and I'm always happy to share a table with you. Please, my darling Tate, introduce yourself to the cast.
How could I possibly have a better introduction than that? Hello, my name's Tate Washburn. You can find me at kinda_writing on Twitter, and you can also find me here on Twitch. And yeah, I'll be playing Airdre Tiravantier. I think I said that last name right.
Sounds right. It's your last name, dude. I don't know.
Look, I actually used real, Tolkien Elvish last names for this, so some nerd is going to be able to be like, that's wrong, and I'll be like, it probably is.
And we'll be quick to laugh at them and then
You're gonna get it, well, actually, from your last name.
And then we'll laugh at them and then ban them. But anyway,
it's fine. It's fine. I'm almost a nerd.
Quick to the trees and faster with his bow, the house is happy to have Ranger General quick to secure the border and fortify the Verdani lands. And lastly, Internet, if you don't know who I am by now, well then welcome to Neon Lights Roleplay for the first time, because there's no way you've been here more than once and don't know who I am by now. But just in case you don't, it's Young Foxy, aka Big Foxy, also known as your current and only favorite fox. And I will be your game maestro, playing everyone who is not these 4 incredible individuals, as we delve into a tale of political intrigue, diplomacy, drama, and hopefully, maybe a bit of warfare. Allow me now to set the scene. It is the 18th of Auril, 270 after Imperium. The old empire is long dead, and after its fall, the Gilded Coasts has become a cornucopia of people of all shapes and sizes. Every walk of life can be found here in some corner, dug deep in hiding or out and about in the verdant diaspora of people available here. Many have laid claim to the many towns, castles, and cities here. Wars and skirmishes have scarred and shaped the land for all these times, but through it all, the lands of Tolmir have seen themselves secured by the venerable and noble House Vairdans. Trial, tribulation, and journey have seen you all go through so much. Your personal stories are long to fill journal after journal, bard song after church prayer, each individually. But we are not here for those tales. We are here for something far, far greater. You four have been out for a while. Airdre leading the troops off on the southeastern fronts, negotiating the last of the insurrectionist holdouts, and then sending off the last of the troops to secure the Dasham Bridge. Lydia and Fane traveling back from a long meeting with the Fairy Court, documenting what they could and taking in a long trial of negotiations for the good of the court. And Rio, at first remaining in the capital city and taking about with whatever dark deeds you might need do, but also attending to lesser folk, making sure that tithe is paid and those who give grain and coin to the castle keep are kept safe and well fed. Nonetheless, you have all found yourself on this fine off mid-eve on the river town of Shore Rest. It's mostly quiet. Late in the day, so many people have already begun to pack up their shops and head toward their homes. Farmers that have come to market for the day have already packed up caravans full of the remaining grain and cattle and meat for the day. Some are carrying off happy loads back to farms to feed happy families full of great sacks of coin and wealth. Others are less fortunate, but such are the winds of fate. You four, however, have more to do. The camp you have all built just outside of town is sprawling. Roughly 700 troops are camped just here, a sprawling network of tents and campfires. The troops are building themselves up. Some are hearty, letting off songs into the off-eve. Some are drinking and marrying themselves. Others are already resting, still recovering from a long battle just days ago. You four, however, find yourselves in the upper room of a tavern. The fee wasn't much. The local noble knew you all by name and was quick to offer you the room at a discounted price. You have the space to eat, speak with each other. It's been roughly almost a month or so since any of you have gathered all like this. Some of you have been together traveling, so you've been together for a while, but the High Council's not seen itself gathered in one place since, well, yeah, the last eve or so, a full month. So the sun comes low over the hills, and bar patrons begin to pack themselves off or be cut off for the evening, some being dragged out by friends in drunken stupors. How does this scene find you all? And we'll go in reverse order, starting with Tate. Take it away, babe.
Yeah, we're in town. We're at the tavern, I think you said? Or we're heading towards it?
You're on an upper floor. There's a large room to yourself. Yeah. You're at a wide table. There's plenty of space to yourself. There's been a wide assortment of meats and fine wines brought to you, so you can have your fill of drink and food. You know, all the space is yours to yourself. Anything else you might need to be accommodated to, you're certain the townsfolk will be happy to help you with whatever you need. They tend to like you a lot.
No, just... Yeah, I think Airdre doesn't, want anything, and he has still been handed a drink. He ends up being, in this part of the country quite a lot, because he likes to do his own scouting and his own sort of traveling around to be familiar with everything. So I think he, knows this tavern specifically, and they've already handed him a drink, and he's like, I don't need any, soup or food or anything, I'm fine, don't worry about it. And this is, the least he could get from them. And he's enjoying it. He has his, sword across his lap in its sheath, because he just doesn't ever leave it anywhere. And he's, probably enjoying the music, he appreciates it. He's probably kind of quiet, just chilling, just vibing.
Vibing to the music. The patrons offer you a large glass of wine, and just as you wave them off from anything else, just, of course, Ranger General, if there's anything else, just let us know. And they move on and move to the rest of the court. Let's swing on right around clockwise. That brings us over to Lydia. How does this evening find the house historian?
Finds her remembering to take herself off of mute.
Nailed it. I was going to remind you. You did it. You killed it.
But it finds Lydia, our house historian, enjoying a glass of wine, but much like Airdrie, not taking too much with anything else as far as ale or any of the prepared foods. Picking at them every now and then. She's got a platter in front of her, but mostly she's much the same way, enjoying the comfort of her comrades and writing in her journal.
Guess we'll continue to pass right on over, down across your game dice and looking across the screen. We move over to the House Master of Espionage, Rio Branshaw. How does this evening find you?
Rio is out and about in the town, talking with masons and architects of the sort, trying to figure out the best way to get roads and the best places to put the roads. Thinking about and spitting out new ideas of, road construction, trying to better transportation around in these kind of sprawled out lands.
I think you'll find that as you walk about the town, you have with you your attendant. She's a younger individual. Just kind of walk about you. Their name is Morgan. They don't talk a lot usually, so you haven't really gotten a lot of info on where they're from. But you know they're from Westreach. They're from the local area, probably a small shanty town outside of the castle capital, and they're with you, and they usually handle a lot of your numbers. And as you're walking with them, talking with some of the stoneworks and masons, and they're sort of checking with you. I think I'm getting some background noise from someone. I can't tell who specifically. Cool. Crap. Sorry. Yeah. So Morgan's with you, and they are mostly just checking with a roster and making sure you are capable of noting the different costs to be attended with this. And within the budget of the house, it mostly appears to be fine. They would let you know, Master, that there is a tithe due in just a few weeks' time. It might be prudent to wait for that to come before we start to make any larger plans for infrastructure. It feels like it would be inappropriate to ask much of the peasantry to begin plans on working such like this before we ask for their coin. So maybe we set the plans and then wait just about a week or so and then begin asking our masons to operate then.
That is an excellent operation of events. I hit my fucking mic, goddammit. But that is the plan. To begin working with designs for the first bit, and while we work on designs, we let time pass. But
Morgan
yes.
offers you a light smile, just, of course, Master. We'll move back in towards our tavern, assumedly, as we move to the last member of the cast, to High Emissary of the House, and our typical sort of escort and emissary towards the Fae. Fane, how does this evening find you?
All 8 feet of Fane Hemlock are stretched luxuriously in front of a large fire, surrounded by anybody who is interested in hearing the stories she spins. She has her hands are 3-fingered and end in like long feathery wings. She is a harpy. Mostly human features, but feathery, fanged, and much larger than most other people. Her feet are unadorned by boots, as she has long, taloned, 3-toed legs. She is sharing drink and food with anybody who wants to share stories and talk, and is generally reveling and praising the success of the skirmish that took place just a few days prior.
You'll find that there's a small crowd gathered not too far around the fire from you. Some are a bit distant, sort of giving distance to your grace and not wanting to get too close and interrupt your personal space. But others are a little closer in, kind of huddled into a small group around the fire, closely listening in. You'll find there's what you assume to be a bard off to in a corner who is rapidly listening to your story, but you can hear them idly plucking at a viol of some kind as you tell this tale, and you can see them almost idly hum as you say certain notable lines or offer certain, poise to certain phrases. They almost mirror that and offer bits of lines, as if they're just sketching out the first lines of a song that will tell the tale of this great skirmish where you finally put down the insurrectionists, and slew Aragorn Tolemiri, laughed the Tolemiri line. It's a tale, and everyone's... Yeah, please.
No, you finish.
No, please, that's it.
I was going to say, can I hear, as like someone with extremely high perception and also an elf and also knowing her, do I hear this? Is this a true story that I know of? Or is this like embellished?
I'll say you definitely hear it. Thane, how embellished is the story?
The stories of the skirmish a few days ago are taken mostly from the reports that we got. It definitely emphasizes the heroism of the soldiers of House Vairdans. But the more she tells like personal stories, the less embellished they are, and you're like, that sounds embellished, but that's not fake.
Yeah, I feel like we know each other enough that I can just be like, that one's real, yeah.
Yeah. Airdrie, you'll
like
even
fun.
notice, both of you would notice, I mean, anyone, honestly, even Lydia, as you're still in the tavern as well, you'd notice that as the first of the parts of the tale begin, the initial charge onto the bridge and the initial ranged skirmish, there's a lot of, slight embezzlement here or there to highlight, the way the sun shone upon the armor of the troops and the way their spears looked, glistening in a decked row, their phalanx perfectly aligned. There's a little bit of embellishment here, and there's a few soldiers who were definitely present there in different places are, offering loud cheers and shouts as you're going about and telling this tale and just, and sharing in this sort of revelry. But as you get much deeper into the tale and talk about the more personal parts here, there's less cheering, but more somber acknowledgement. Soldiers are gathering around and sharing drinks to lost comrades and offering nods to soldiers who you tell died gloriously and gave their last breaths, and, soldiers who died on the bridge with, brothers and sisters and others behind their backs, all for the people on their lips and pride in their hearts. They offer drinks high and large swagons, and it's much more somber, but definitely still a hint of celebration. And Airdrie, you could sense that, while there definitely might be light tints of storytelling here, it's all mostly accurate. No one's being lied about here.
Yeah, although I wouldn't have called out Fane anyways. I just wanted to know.
As Fane is telling this story, I'll say the two of you who are more sort of off to the side here, being quiet. Fane, you definitely notice this person enter the tavern and sort of begin to walk through. They're dressed in very simple commoner's garb, and their robe on their tabard bears the sort of deer and vine emblem of House Vairdans. So you're immediately not assuming they're hostile, but they come in quickly. So your immediate thought is they're probably a runner of some kind. The scroll you see in their hand almost immediately doubles down on that assumption. They look around the tavern very quickly, see you still moving through your tale, offer a sort of low bow, and without any words move towards the two who are quieter and then off in the corner of the tavern at the table. They are an elf, about sort of mid-bronze skin tone, tall, long blonde hair and a green eye, youth on their face, but definitely experience there. Just apologies, Richard General, historian. Sorry for disturbing your evening. I have a missive for you.
Airdrie would grab it and thank you. And he pulls one of his throwing darts out from underneath his very nice military jacket. It's still traveling clothes, but it's nice. And just uses that to sort of pry the letter open.
All right, let me go ahead and make that visible to the players then. There you go. I'll read it to you. The missive is written in a pretty formal script. At the bottom of it, you'll find the House Vairdans seal, denoting it's very clearly official material, as that script is, and that seal only given to members of the High Council and Naudi herself and those who write in her presence. It says as follows: on the 18th of Auril, 270 AI. Esteemed members of the High Council, this missive is addressed to request your presence in the capital at the behest of Her Grace Madame Naudi Vairdans. The Madam would inform you all that she desires to discuss attendant matters for the domain prior to collective departure for the Interrecta, as well as to decide the matter of the cessation of hostilities between House Vairdans and the Tolmir insurrectionists. You are of no obligation to send a reply missive. The madam shall be prepared for your arrival in the castle keep. And at the bottom, you'll find the symbol of the House Vairdans there.
I will just check over to make sure that the seal is accurate and true, but I assume it is.
Absolutely. Easy swipe over it, Adria. You've scanned this seal for officiality more than enough times that unless it was a very, very well-made fake, you'd be more than capable of recognizing any defunct citizen. It's, at first glance, not even an assumption.
Just checking. But yeah, then I hand it over to my companion sitting here at the table for Lydia to read.
And she
No purpose to have her read over my shoulder.
she looks it over and says, "Oh, it's fairly standard. How far are we out from Westreach at this point? Remind me."
Half a day's travel, easily.
And how late in the evening
Well,
are we?
Sun's peaking low. It's mid-twilight. Not nightfall yet. You could probably get a march out of the church for another mile or two if you really wanted to, but...
I don't see any reason for us to move forward if we're already in a secure location. We can just pick up the march in the morning, right?
That's true, but I would also trust them to march on their own if we wish to make faster time. I know I don't need as much sleep, but gestures over to Thane, telling stories, and I guess vaguely to where Rio might be. It's they might not be able to do quite as much long of a march.
I'm going to go ahead and say that it's almost not too immediately after that for the sake of narration's focus, and we know how these things tend to be affordably convenient for narration's sake. It's as you say that out of the crowd of party goers and story folk gathered around Thane, you'll see the shock of almost, curled, knotted black hair that Airdrie, you'd more than recognize her from the campaign as Sub-Commander Renee Ducali is amongst some other soldiers. They're all very inebriated. You were able to see her as they were approaching, as they were early into the celebration here, and she was definitely trying to kind of play off and not drink too much, but some soldiers were celebrating her leading the victory of the skirmish and were just absolutely being insistent that they delivered some drink to her. And so she kind of gave in, and now she definitely appears to be a little bit swayed in her step as she sees you, kind of shakes her head a bit, and then slowly marches over. Ranger General?
A light bow. It's good that you're enjoying the evening with your troops. You pulled off quite a feat today.
Thank you, sir. Your praise is very appreciated. I simply follow my orders and as my training dictated. I was taught well. Nonetheless,
No response from that.
I came to wonder if you had any plans for the prisoners tonight.
That is more interesting. Perhaps we should stay the night then, he'll say to Lydia. I could help with seeing what they might know.
I'll prepare them for interrogation, sir. She offers another...
Well, I mean, looking to Lydia to sort of her idea on that, if that is a good idea to stay the night then.
Like I said, I think it's fine if we pick up in the morning. Whatever information they might have might actually prove worthwhile to the meeting anyway.
This is true. Then to Lydia. Then to Renee. See that they're prepared.
She offers another crypt salute. Sir, madam, and sort of slowly walks her way back. That's a bit of a stumble, but you can see her very quickly getting her bearings and her sense of her footing as she makes her way out of the tavern. Takes a good big breath of fresh air and just, okay, and moves her way off to the side there. Other than that, I'll mostly say that the night passes pretty simplistically. I will move to one or two quick scenes of Airdrie talking to some prisoners, and we'll check in with Rio just
Although, no, actually, never mind. I'll save it.
Cool. Then we'll overall say that there's not really too much that happens tonight. Fane, any other stories you tell, whether you dig into older tales or just other stories you have, plenty of folks, even some of the soldiers, just stick around to listen. Some, offer their own comments here at places, and when you tell more familiar stories, some offer hype in for familiar verses or offer courses or bridges here or there. It's a celebration overall. The general, even though there was definitely some losses here, in particular, there are a group of knights who are off in the corner, and in the battle, the knights took some particularly heavy losses, but they pressed on and fought valiantly, and so a few of them are there with Knight Commander Janus, and he's talking to them in some low tones, but as you pick into some more excitable stories, they offer some raised drinks and some cheers here or there as they kind of get into the spirit of things, just somberly enjoying the air of things, even if they are still mourning lost comrades. I'll say from there, it is later in the evening that Rio, Morgan is still with you. You sort of wrap up anything left to do with the Masons. You set in case any plans. There's orders set to move stone and wood and other important things. You know for a fact that everything seems to be in place as far as the actual resources needed. There's more than enough stonework being brought in from the northern resources and trade deals you have with the Alderi mines. There's more than enough wood from the local forests around that you can harvest and have brought in. All the local trade routes seem secure enough. There's not really any trouble with highwaymen or bandits anywhere on the local internal trade routes. Everything seems perfect. Morgan does point out, though, Sire, while we don't have any issue with the current order, our supply of caravan horses seems to be running low. I know the madam was tending to discuss some matters of our trade deal with the Metri after the Interrecta, but I know that negotiation hasn't gone through just yet, so our supply will be dwindled after this deal.
Alrighty. Let's see. Does he know of any nations that are particularly well with horses?
Well, one, you would know Morgan uses they, them pronouns. And two, they look at you and say just, well, outside of our usual deal with the Metri, that's typically where anyone on the west coast or here would find good deal for horses. As they have the Heartland territory in Cyprus, they offer the best livestock and some of the best horses around. Our trade deal with them is where we supply our knights through, as you'd be aware, Malish. Outside of them, however, I'd have to dispatch an agent or two, have them dig in and inquire, perhaps send an emissary out. I can have a report with you in just a few days if you give me time.
Yes, please do. See how many, stock horses they have available for trade.
I may perhaps be able to find horses of lesser quality if we trade with the Alderi. I know their serfs tend to have a resplendent cavalry line. They wouldn't be of the same stock that our knights use, but a horse may be a horse.
That is true.
This may be a thing to discuss with the madam when you all return.
That may work well.
I'm just bringing it to your mind.
All right.
I will leave you to your evening then, sir.
Alrighty. You may wish to pack your things in the morning. I have a feeling a storm is coming.
I'll get some good rest then. They offer you a sort of wry smile and slowly slip off. And it's from there we'll slip over as we follow them out of the town towards the large, sprawling military camp as the fires slowly begin to dim out and go into puffs of smoke as soldiers dim themselves and quiet in for the evening. Airdrie, a larger tent has been erected for you to make your way in. Lots of prisoners were taking, perhaps the tally you read said around 30 or so, the total number you brought in, but 5 of them are arrayed before you, along with Renee, as they're resting. And Renee comes forward, offers you a sort of wry smirk and smile, and just sort of looks at the 5 of them and just says, Captain, I brought forward any veterans amidst the group. Anyone beside this who was important was cut down or retreated.
Yeah, definitely going to look over the 5 of them, and I guess there are troops also that are separated but in the same tent, and I assume kind of come to the same conclusion. These are obviously the guys that we want to talk to, and if that's the case, I think Airdrie sort of starts off just, almost somber, just paces in front of them and, death in battle is seen as honorable, but death is simply the end. There's nothing else, and I find it distasteful. And he's gonna go down the line, and he just has this like specific point somewhere like the back left or right side of their neck that he puts a little bit of his own like internal energy into and jabs them on the neck, each of them in turn, which makes it so they cannot lie for like the next several minutes. It is like a save, which we can do if you want, but it's like this old like it's a wisdom save, I believe.
Let's not bother. Let's just not. Let's save.
Charisma save, but yeah.
Yeah, let's save them the embarrassment.
Yeah, he goes to all of them in time, and he's just gonna. They can still like not answer or try and answer deceptively, but they can't actively lie. And yeah, he'd just sit down in front of them and look each of them very intently in the eyes and like, so, who's going to talk first?
You don't get an answer at first. Some of them shuffle a bit. The one in front of you looks up. They're not like head covered or anything. Excuse me. He looks up, looks down, spits at your feet.
There's like that heavy sigh, and he looks at this guy, and I don't know if you want me to roll persuasion, but I feel like he's just gonna really like dig into this particular guy and just, hey, I need you to know that I'm a specialist in being persuasive. If I don't find something out, then I hand you over to more traditional methods of interrogation. It's really in your best interest to tell me anything you think that's useful at all.
He glances over at you. The look on his face definitely indicates that he doesn't want to give you anything, but there's a twitch in his eye that very clearly shows that that look is a facade and is breaking very rapidly. I'm going to go ahead and have you roll persuasion if you'd like.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what to do from there.
I'm also using commanding presence, so...
Do that thing you just said.
What? Well, that's still pretty good.
What you got for me?
That's 28.
Excuse me. Oof. Yeah, okay. 28. That's pretty good. Sorry, that's shocking.
Plus 8 to that, and I can add a d6 to it.
All right. Well, you're only supposed to make me cough. So, yeah, he holds up that facade for a hard second. The one next to him, not the one you're looking at, he pipes up just like, bite my tongue, Vairdani. The other one you're looking at cuts him a glance, and he pipes down. Just, you've beaten us already. What is it you need to know?
I think that's like a moment where he thinks, he's like, you never really know what you need to find out until it's a problem. You're veterans, you know how an army works. I'll bet that you pay attention. This isn't about what I want to know, and more what you think will get you out of traditional interrogation methods.
He looks at you, just kind of confused. You can't tell immediately. If you want to roll insight on this, I'll give you the either or. But the either or here is it's either he's confused as to whether or not he should tell you something, or confused as to whether or not he has anything. With a 28, I'll go ahead and say you're definitely certain it's more confused as to whether he has anything to give you. It's at this moment that a third person pipes up. A woman, actually. Just, I got something. She kind of pops down on her butt almost. Just. The bet you're going to be the interactor.
I assume that means something to Airdrie.
So again, you'd be aware that the Interrecta is a meeting of all the nobles of the house. And the Metri family, despite being a very notable trade family, isn't actually in command of any territory directly, and thus doesn't usually appear. They usually send their emissaries as like the people who actually own the land that they control through trade and negotiation. But effectively, it sounds like she's saying that they're going to come themselves.
Yeah, and I believe that they were involved in the last battle. Like, they hired some of them.
Yep.
I think, now everybody's going to focus in on her. It's like, that is interesting. And just sort of leaning closer and... What did you hear their soldiers talk about? Did they mention what they're doing there? Plans? Anything they seemed nervous about?
Hey, it's the funny thing. It's kind of skipping my mind a bit if I got anything. Hard when you get concussed from, a fucking arrow to the back of your head.
Deirdre would find that kind of amusing. It's like, oh, yeah, it is kind of hard. I agree. It's harder to speak without a tongue.
She clams up. Look, I didn't get much, all right? I caught some of them around the fire before we went to march out. They were talking about the heir, the leader or whatever, the fucking brat, Loam the Third. They said he was making plans of popping up at the Interrecta. Didn't say anything else. We started marching shortly afterwards. It's all I got, all right? Just
young heir.
Take it easy.
Actually, I found out that I don't know how to spell air. All right. Anyways, I'm taking notes. You don't understand.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, unless we want to keep doing this, I think Airdrie would just spend the rest of the time he has of like the 10 minutes just keep on asking for like even some really small details of like, hey, where did you guys travel before this? What other forces did you see? Did you change direction suddenly to try and avoid something? You just don't know what because you're not in charge. Like really minute like troop movements just to see if he can glean anything else that they might like have seen but not really understood, if that makes sense.
Yeah, as this is happening, just outside the tent, Lydia, if you're going past, you'll notice that someone does flag you down as you're heading past and let you know that the prisoners are being interrogated here in this tent, and kind of like indicate that you're welcome to enter whenever you'd like. So if you want to put yourself in the scene, you're more than welcome to.
Oh, good. I was wondering where he'd run off to. And she does end up stepping in. She doesn't interrupt or anything. Just kind of pulls up a seat in the corner and has her notebook out.
The woman speaking cuts you a glance as you step in, but doesn't really bother you or in any particular way. She speaks pretty openly, Airdrie. At this point, your threat was pretty direct, so she's not really hiding back much. Just tells you that no, they were mostly just marching to try and get out of Tolmir, as they were pretty aware that they had lost the war, and the plan was to get to Sigris, hopefully ally with the Metri and regroup from there. The plan was, we got scouts who heard word of your detachment, so they forced march across the bridge, plan to make it from there.
I mean, with Lydia in the room, after some conversation, he would sort of look to her and, is there something you wanted to know?
You mentioned that the youngest heir from Matri is showing up at the Interrectum?
Yes.
She says, well, I misspoke. It's the current Metri leader. He wasn't even heir for a while.
So, just to establish whether or not prior knowledge was something that happened, were we aware that this is the current leader for the Matri?
Yes. I mean, the Metri family is pretty quiet about their internal politics, but you would definitely all have been around enough to know that about 7 or so years ago, it was declared that Metri Loam II was dead and that Metri Loam III had been named. It wasn't really so much talked about how that went. It was known that the Metri Loam II had multiple heirs, like multiple children. So it wasn't really set on much wasn't really said about the one that was picked. Although it was pretty much openly known that wasn't the one who was planned to be picked to be heir that ended up getting it. What happened to the actual planned heir?
That'd be a curious one to press for rumors.
If you press any of the soldiers for rumors, they'll give you a few. One of them's if you say that out loud, like they'll pipe up.
Yeah, she'll just kind of cross her legs and say, I was kind of curious that he was picked up leadership, what was it, 6-7 years ago? Never found out what happened to the previous heir.
You'll hear the one next to the woman talking to you all chuckle a bit. Just the woman joins in. Just the brat. He shouldn't have. That's why. Metri family's a fucked up den of vipers and weirdos. You ask me. But hey, they make good deals, I guess. So people just look the other way when there's coin involved. Far as I know, and this is all just hearsay, she says with a very heavy inclination, but the seventh in the line got pretty ticked off about the way things were going. So he got all his other siblings exiled or dealt with, and when that wasn't enough, he got his dad offed.
I think Airdrie would also kind of chuckle with him of like, people look the other way. He's like, nope, that's pretty wise, actually.
She kind of falls back a bit as the questions kind of die off, and just, again, trying to maintain this sort of like relative air of not being terrified, although it's not easy to tell this is pretty hard facade and just...
So, I'm sorry, Airdrie, I'm not sure if you actually had asked the question or not already. You said that they're going to be showing up at the Interrectum. Do you know what changed? Or is it just Loam has decided enough's enough and wants to show his face?
You ask me. Brash just power hungry. Trying to show his dick off. But I've heard some other rumors around that Mitchell Loom III may not be as wealthy in every department as he is in the trade game. That's just a rumor, though. She smiles.
Young leaders often wish to prove themselves with dramatic moves.
If it's a problem concerning trade, do you think it's possible he might be coming to negotiate terms?
Hell if I know. You nobles all do weird shit to me. All I do is take your coin and fight your battles.
If Lydia, you don't have any other questions, I think that's a good extra transition point.
Not that I can think of at the moment.
Yeah, so I think that like that communication happens sort of non-verbally between them, and Airdrie just sort of solemnly, you might want to reconsider the part where you fight only for things that can pay you. And he'll sort of stand up because he's been sort of kneeling in front of them, at least squatting, and look to the soldier that's like with him. It's see that these men are well fed. We don't treat prisoners poorly just because we disagree with them. And we'll just like walk out. Like he's not trying to scare them or intimidate them anymore.
Thank you, everyone, for sharing what you would.
Yeah, you can definitely notice as you're parting from your side eye that the woman looks a little confused at that, almost like she wasn't maybe expecting you all to play a bit more hardball for a bit longer. So she doesn't say anything as you all exit. It doesn't really start any issues or anything. But we'll go ahead and transition out of that scene and move on to sort of our next day, as it were. The night passes pretty solemnly. You're all given perfectly fine quarters for the evening. You don't have to sleep with the soldiers unless you directly desire to. But otherwise, you're given pretty fine quarters at the lodgings. You have, listen, do whatever makes you most comfortable. But what I'll go ahead and say happens to move us through is as the day passes, the morning begins. You all awaken decently early, but regardless of what time you'll awake, by the time you're up, the soldiers are already moving, unpacking their camps, breaking down tents and lodging, setting up caravans, readying the horses, getting themselves prepared to march. You'll notice that unlike your usual, Airdrie, you've been with these troops for a long fucking time. You've seen them in the muck. They don't usually care too much in the day. It's, get up, get your gear on, get to it. If you got some muck on your face, fucking spit wipe it, move on. But they're putting some time into their gear today. There's working, polish rags over their swords and their shields and their emblems. The banner carriers have taken down the battle emblems, which are a bit worn, and have brought up the fresh parade emblems now. They're readying themselves for a parade, definitely. At this point, you'd all be pretty certain that you're not that far from the castle keep. It's probably about a half day's journey. Sort of still acting as the detachment sort of leader, Renee Ducali kind of takes initiative on making sure all troops are all arraigned in caravan. She lets you know, Eridre, that the troops are all assembled and ready to go at any point in time. We'll sort of easily hand wave all that, and sort of you all next find yourselves on your steeds, whatever you feel like would seem appropriate to have for yourself would be. Just go ahead and let me know what that is. I have no problem. But as you're traveling on your steeds at the head, with the rest of the honor guard, a few of the Westland Knights, Renee and other sub-commanders are marching in a diamond head formation with you. The troops are at march behind you, keeping that even pace. A few hours of march pass as just the high peaks of it first, and then its large base, and then the ever so recognizable rectangular walls and high gates of the castle city of Westreach that you have called home for the past, almost 29 years for some of you, longer for some more. And as you slowly begin to march, it's not even as you can barely even make out the high wood and steel inlaid reinforced gates. They swing slowly wide open, and even from this distance, you can see the scale of the crowd that has gathered. You've all been out at campaign for a while now, so it's been a bit since you've all returned to the castle capital, and the local populace, well, they seem to be very, very happy about this as you slowly begin to make your way in. The troops, the two on your flanking columns, begin to quicken their pace, moving themselves into a sort of flanking position at you, and then falling into march, waving their banners and making crisp salutes as you pass through the gates and through, as a wide crowd begins to break into open shout and cheering as you slowly move your way through. They are absolutely ecstatic at your presence here currently. Beyond proud to see you all. You can see human, elf folk, others, and even a few orcs and lizard folk and exotic races, all absolutely in common folk and noble garb, trade townsmen and others, throwing columns of flowers at soldiers. Fane, you look over to your right as the column to your right here is marching just beyond. And as you're marching, you can see it's hard to notice almost, but you're just enough to see it with your eyes. A single soldier has two hands come out of the crowd, grip him, and pull. And you see someone just in a lip lock, just absolutely pulls this person just in a puddle. People are cheering all around them and throwing flowers at them and happy. It's a good scene. And there's some mourning here or there, some sorrow, some mothers who are asking after sons, some falling to their knees in sadness as they've lost children or loved ones. It's overall happy as a scene, but you can still feel yourself drawn to notice the small things here, as you always do. The parade is not something you've all been unused to, unfortunately, so it's not the kind of thing that you all feel directly happy for, but you offer the typical waves and smiles. Some of you might hear names called, maybe in adoration or flirtation, who knows? Townsfolk are weird. But in either case, you make yourselves up towards the keep. Soldiers part into a wide formation, going off to either garrison themselves or maintain a sort of parade kind of formation outside of the castle for a while. Townsfolk have gathered at the castle keep gates and are still showering the parade caravan with flowers and treats and praise and worship. You all are brought through this. Renee goes to keep and take care of the troops. Attendants come to take your horses immediately. They welcome you all in proudly. Make sure your any garb you all have on that isn't, directly innerwear is taken off of you and carried away. Attend to all of you appropriately. Hand you water if you haven't had it. And as you approach the sort of spiral staircase, marching on either side as you want, you find yourself at the outer gate to the keep, whereupon you see a woman. She is dark mahogany in skin tone, a proud, brown-eyed gaze, a smile half smirked, a tiara on her face, and hair in braids and a high bun behind her. She wears a dress of the same blue and dark gray of the house colors, decorated and fine with gold inlets here and there. The smile is warm, and as she is present outside of the gates, the townsfolk go wild. They lose it for her presence, absolutely throwing themselves in absolute praise and worship. But she keeps a smile on all four of you. As the four of you, members of the High Council, are brought before Madame Lights Vairdans, matron of House Vairdans, and effectively, well, ruler over these lands. She smiles at the four of you, just, greetings, my High Council. It's been a good time. I have wondered after you all for some time, and it's good to see that a campaign seems you all returned to me safely. Are you all well?
Well enough, Madame Vairdans. No, respectful bow.
Ranger General, thank you.
I think that Fane is going to take her by the hand and do something that is not risque, but definitely barely you can get away with it. She's going to kiss. She's going to kiss Vairdans on the knuckles, and then basically as close as you can get to the forearm on the wrist, and it's deeply flirtatious.
Yeah, you'll see that
better now that we're back.
Despite her darker tone, you can easily see a very rosy blush pop on her face, and it's been a few cold nights since you've been here. I'm glad to see you safe.
Icy already.
She does quickly have to maintain facade, though, so she tries to cut herself away and looks to the other two. Just, Rio, Lydia, good to see you two as well.
Good to see you as well.
A pleasure as always, Lady Verdant.
She smiles and tries not to look like an embarrassment right now. The council is gathering in the keep. If you all wish to come in, we have refreshments and we have a few things to cover. There's just a day or two before we head off for the Interrecta, but there are things I wish to discuss before we adjourn. Most importantly, the insurrectionists. Great job, by the way, Ranger General.
I have very skilled subordinates, I will say.
Then we shall speak of promotion after this, perhaps. She offers you a wide smile and gestures vaguely behind her. The keep is not too far from the sort of hallway you all find yourselves behind. It's another double door just down the hallway as you head down the keep. As you pass it, you see a few busts of different members of House Vairdans who have led it before Nality came to power. Mostly only one or two of those, as really this idea of bringing the house together to properly rule over these lands is only really a recent idea you all would know. However, you mostly see a few campaign banners and other tributes given, a few statues. In fact, you even see one or two pieces, whether they're art pieces or statues or busts, dedicated to all of you, even as you've done great deeds throughout the land that have seen the people earn a great favor, with you in general. And as you are moving across this place and into the keep, you see a wide table where outwardly you see a map of the twin Gilded Coasts. Plenty of dots set all about in different places, marking out towns, cities, regiments, garrisons, bastions, caravans even. You'll see a few people, merchants, local nobles, members of the attendant house, and the lower house, all mostly just fussing about and arguing about small things like whether this caravan should be here or there, whether it travels this fast or that fast, whether we should be tariffing this town this much or that much. It's all simple stuff that you're usually not too used to, but as you four, the High Council, approach, a hush falls over that's almost ethereal. Everyone turns to you, offers a low half bow. Just Nality comes in. There's a seat at the head of the table that is high and definitely far too big for her, but she sits in it commandingly. Crosses her legs, folds her arms, gestures to you four vaguely. There are four other seats at the sort of crest of the table around the head. They're not as fine as the throne, but they're definitely more fine than the other seats the lower house has. And, well, they're all for you. And you're all free to take your sort of spots there and grab your rest. And we'll sort of directly put you all in the scene. And here's how we'll do the fun here, yeah? So we'll go as the camera pans around the table, we'll do the scene cut here. The camera pans around the table one at a time. Yes, we'll come to you all individually. What thing are you sort of fussing with the lower house about? Is it the placement of garrisons? Are you worried about, the movement of infrastructure, the negotiation with certain passing information? What thing are you fussing about? And if anyone feels like this should be a domain skill or domain move, feel free to make that argument, and we'll play out that role. So we'll go ahead and I'll call you out one at a time because I feel like being bold today. So let's go and roll a d8. How about that? Because I like making you all suffer.
I am ready if we want me to go first.
Good, because you're first. So here's how this goes. Let me set a scene. Starting with some good music. So, as the scene is slowly set, the war table decorates the domination of this scene here. The camera pans high over as it sweeps across the high hills in the north and shows out the high of the northern coasts. Dark red markers in the north mark out Aldari territory. The Aldari, the pride, isolationist militant folk they are, haven't been in contact for a while, but they're still present, still there. Off to the west, deeper into the heartland, you see the Metri lands. The Metri are interesting. As a trade guild, they don't officially hold and own the land that they control. Rather, they simply dominate the local lords and nobles through negotiations and unfair trade deals. To your south, you see the Crimson Order. Jalthroxe has been quiet, unnoticeably quiet for one that tends to be so braggadocious. And that's, well, how you feel about that's up to you. Naudi is keen and focused, passing about to each of you, knowing that in these long years, you have all had keen eye and keener mind. And so as we shift over to the Ranger General, what is it that you are focusing directly on?
I think partially, but this is also something Lydia might share an interest in, is just what kind of interactions that they had with the church in Palefall. But like the Everreach Church.
The Everlight Church, yes.
Everlight Church, thank you. But that's more of a constant thing. I think probably currently it's about like forestry and resources. It's a very bland argument, but it's like you have to stop taking everything from the most convenient location. You're going to destroy that small patch of trees you call it forest. Like, it's conservatism. It's like conserving the natural environment way more than anything else.
Why don't you go ahead and roll me like a diplomacy check real quick or something? It's not a domain skill.
And that's
go ahead and roll me. Actually, if you want
charisma, or
actually no. If you want to go ahead and roll, use the domain skill. Use the domain skill, diplomacy, which I think you guys have on your sheet. It should say what your bonus is to that.
Mm-hmm. If I remember right, I need to open that.
3.
Thanks, Meg. You're the greatest.
+3. And so that's just a d20 +3 plus my charisma.
You got it. Well, plus your proficiency bonus if you're proficient in charisma. Yeah. Well, if you're proficient in the skills that are appropriate to it, which I believe there should be. If you can argue that a skill you're proficient in applies to this role, then you can argue that you get your proficiency bonus.
I'm using
also,
persuasion.
We have +2s.
Yeah, we have a fuck ton of +2s, by the way, because chat's been going nutty. So feel free to just use a +2.
20 this whole time. Add a +2 to that one. That's fine.
Right,
It's a 22.
So Airdray, you're arguing about this forestry, and a local noble tries to pipe up, and just like, that makes no sense. If you send my forces even further, we're about to pay more to the local caravan to send even more logging out there. We don't have those horses right now. There's another noble, an elf who keeps to a forest patch there, who elves have a bit more closer of a cultural tie to nature, and so she pipes up just, "You are being irrational, General, please." All right, so you are being irrational, nobleman. Calm down. The Ranger General is certainly true. If we are to irritate the spirits, then we will cause an imbalance we can't afford right now. Unless you'd like to pay more tariffs to increase the garrison to your towns to keep them safe from rampaging nymphs and tree folk, yes? He blanches and just, there are tree folk in the forest? She straight faces him. Yes. You have no idea whether she's being honest or not, but he doesn't. He buys it. He just. Then we'll.
So you mean to tell me there are tree folk in the trees?
He completely wills. Just so we'll negotiate for 4th it deals further in. It's not a problem. We can pay that tithe.
I think Airdrie would step in and be like, regardless of the danger of forest spirits and how they may act, we can't simply win the current engagement at the risk of ruining the future of your town. It's easy to forget when you live only a piddly number of years that the way that we treat the world now will hurt the world in the future, or help it.
Very well. All right, rolling the old D8 wheel again as the camera pans around and we bring ourselves to... Well, we find ourselves next sliding over to the High Emissary as Fane is sitting in her chair, present and noble. What exactly are you babbling with the lower house about right now, Fane?
Fane is concerned with the relative quietude of Jal. She has like a long history with him, and doesn't so much like that. Like, if Jal is being quiet, that means Jal is planning something. He's not smart enough to keep babbling while he has the wheels turning. Or maybe not smart enough, but he's not clever in that way.
There's a couple noblemen who clatter and joke. The spy master of the house, who is an orc actually, she's darker gray skinned and usually wears sort of mask kind of covering most of her face, but when in present amongst the high council, she tends to reveal her full face. It's darker gray with a high scar running across her right eye. And she turns to face both you and the Master of Espionage. Just, if it pleases the High Council, I could dispatch a few of my agents to, on reserve, and keep eye on the Crimson Order and report back within the next few nights. It shouldn't take us long. Jaldraxe may be a schemer, but he's not quiet.
As you say.
Just, Master of Espionage.
I think it would be a good idea to keep an eye on them. They have been a bit quiet recently, if the reports are coming through correctly.
By the High Council's will. She doesn't even wait, just immediately stands up and turns to leave. As you can leave, you see her do a wave. In a faint blur of shadows, an elf in darker armor appears, and she begins to whisper over to them. They nod and then fade away again. She keeps moving down the hallway. I will ask you very quickly to go ahead and roll plus espionage. Your domain's espionage. Go ahead and roll an espionage check for me. I can tell you what skills you can be proficient in that will help you with this if you'll give me exactly 6 seconds. I lied more than 6. Psych, exactly 6.
What's
Here we
our
go.
espionage for somebody who has it pulled up?
Y'all should figure that out, because I don't keep an eye on your sheet, because that's your job, not mine. Anybody got a thing for me? For record, if you have any proficiency in investigation or stealth, Fane, you can apply your proficiency bonus to this roll.
He has expertise. Can you apply expertise to this roll?
I think so. Yes.
I have a proficiency.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have expertise in those, but
Do you have proficiency in either one? And I'm gonna say as, but since both of you are involved in this, I'm gonna say you can both roll this check. It's fine, and we'll take the higher, whichever is higher.
okay.
Is that how the game works? I don't know, but we're breaking it already. Fuck it.
Why? And
So yeah, go ahead and roll. Plus
did
your espionage.
we? Yeah, I just gotta pull up our espionage.
Do we get that number for our espionage?
I think it's a +2.
Thank you,
If I
Master
remember the
Espionage.
sheet correct.
Espionage is a 1.
Oh well, never mind.
Oh, it is 1.
There it is. So go ahead and roll d20
Psych.
plus 1, plus if you have proficiency in either of those skills, plus proficiency bonus.
20 from me.
That's a big number. Chouse,
Is that it? No, I didn't do. No, I don't.
You roll
fucked up.
stealth.
God dang it.
which technically, it works the same way.
You
It's
could
almost
do
fine.
stealth. You could do stealth.
I
Yeah.
just take
I
a few off of that. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I got it. Not a problem. You're good. It's all good. Okay, so with that 20, I'll say that lands perfectly. You can see that they're easily dispatching some scouts, and we'll resolve the results of that roll soon. However, I'll say that you definitely can both trust in the efficiency and skill of the House Vairdans' House of Spies. So they're definitely going to get their job done, and they'll get back to you in a few days' time. You're certain. let's go ahead and pan our camera around, as there are two people we haven't yet gone to. We next find ourselves with the camera swinging from our high emissary to the house historian. Lydia, what does this day find you arguing with the rest of the lower house about?
Give me a quick reminder about the facets that we had going here. There was what was going on with Korosakura, and then the just kind of mitigating, have people talking about what's going on with the forest.
Yeah. So that was happening for a bit. We were talking about dealing with that, and then we're checking on Jaltaraxe and the Crimson Order because they're doing shit. Outside of that, that's mostly what's been brought up so far.
I think Lydia will probably mostly be trying to get an idea on if we've got any confirmation about who's going to be attending the internment.
The Interrecta.
The Interrecta, yeah,
Right.
that one.
And then also
The Interrecta.
telling them what we've found, I assume, then.
And
Yeah,
informing
sure.
them what we found.
Play it out. I'm right here. Let's do it.
So she taking her notebook out and the records from the interrogation and speaks rather plainly, giving Airdrie the credit, of course, for the interrogation itself. She was just simply the note taker. Says, so we learned that House Mitri is going to be the Lord, Lom III, is going to be showing up himself for the Interrectum. Have we confirmed as much from other sources? Whether it be written, presence?
There's some mumbling amongst the lower houses, mostly to the negative. Naudi leans over and says, I don't believe we've heard it such, but this is certainly interesting news. From a reliable source?
One
At least
of
from a
the
source that
cell
couldn't
swords.
lie.
Well, so such being the case...
Shit.
Lom is certainly a thorn in our side. We've been neutral with the family for the sake of our trade deal, but him appearing as the Interrector could mean many different things. I have suspicions. If you'll allow me to elaborate, she pauses for a moment.
By all means, my lady.
She points towards, and I'll even point at the Roll20. She points to an area sort of right about here. For those who aren't aware, and indicated the lower house, the Metri deal, it seems to be focused primarily on import and export. They control a monopoly on many different trade deals going into and out of the Gilded Coasts. However, their paths aren't secure. In fact, the most secure path into or out of the Gilded Coasts is held firmly by the Alderi, and they aren't giving access very easily. It's been tense negotiation back and forth for a while, with most of them being neutral about it, but from what I understand, Longblade is being, well, Longblade. And Loam is getting impatient. It's possible this appearance at the Interrecta is showboating or worse. We'll have to keep an eye. Sure. It appears our agents are busy with checking in on the Crimson Order. If we have any reserves around the Metri lands, or nonetheless, I can fetch one of my dignitaries, perhaps, send a noble over. Lom III is nothing if not easy to read. I'll send a pretty woman over. Shouldn't be that hard to get information out of him. Yes?
Would Rio have any personal spies that he would have in that area?
I don't know. Would he?
Probably. Because he's got lots of spies kind of just around and about.
Sounds like you should speak up in character then, huh?
Alrighty. I do have several hands in many places. I may be able to see if I can reach one over.
She looks over at the table, kind of from a rested hand, offers you just the most flirtatious smirk, and just... Have I told you how I appreciate how handy you are, Rio?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
See what you can gather up about Metri. If any get in the important before we head out, let me know.
Will do.
Rio, I'm gonna have you also roll espionage for me one more time. Go ahead. So just roll a d20, add a +1, and then you are definitely proficient in stealth, so add your proficiency.
+1. No, that's equals +1. And then
We all have the same proficiency, right? +4?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It should be, yeah.
how do I see the proficiency bonus? Oh, it's +4. Okay.
Yeah, it should all be +4 for all y'all, yeah.
The benefit of being the same level.
Do it again with
You
slash
gotta
rolls.
use
Don't do that.
slash to roll
Oh.
4.
You got it, boss. Don't worry. First session
I'm
jitters, work them out.
struggling.
Listen, first session jitters, work them out, boss. It's all right. Don't worry about it. You're doing fine.
This will be the number.
You're killing it.
Your number's better.
Yeah.
See, look at that. All right. So with 25, we'll get back to those results momentarily. So, as we settle through those two scenes here with Lydia and Rio bringing up their concerns and Naudi being very happy about this, she mostly just sort of lets the lower court babble for a bit. It's about an hour or so in. If any of you look over at Naudi, you'll just see her with her head in her hands, just very bored. And just as they babble on about things like tithe issues and church taxes and farm tariffs, and she just, yes, this is all very important. I'm sure you can have my scribes and attendants deal with this at all. Now, if you please, my counsel and I have things to discuss. So if you don't mind, and she says nothing else, but the glare she gives the lower house is very cutting. And they all
It's not a request.
have a wonderful evening, milady. Hi, counsel. And they just, without even waiting for a response, just immediately start making their way out. And you find yourselves sort of just left here. You're all direct attendants. Sort of, for example, Rio, you'd see Morgan off in the corner behind you, kind of just with a table, a chair there. And other attendants who handle sort of direct liaison things with your domains within the court. Renee is not too far off with some of the other sub-commanders around you, Airdre. They're all kind of around this table now, but as you all sort of center and focus just now, he says, "Oh my. Now that that's dealt with, let's talk to things that are important. You all have been out in the field for a while, so anything else happening here?" She looks at all you all.
I am more concerned about this Metri fellow. Yes, it might simply be a way of peacocking around and flexing his ability to buy his way out of problems, but I'm always nervous when a younger man with that amount of power suddenly gains more control. This could be a more physical confrontation if we're not careful.
Especially if it involves the means that he's rumored to have used to gain power.
Indeed.
If
Could
he
just kind of do a little one-up on him and kind of, feed him his own medicine a little bit. But I think we may want to reserve that card.
No, Rio, you might just be onto something, honestly. Let's be honest, if Metri's going to flex his muscles, the Aldari won't back down. They're proud folk. If it comes to it, open conflict may certainly be a reality between them. Are we thinking of picking sides here?
Thinking of keeping you safe.
Well,
If we're picking sides, I believe that the Metri have proven themselves to be politically fickle. Their hierarchy changes regularly and rapidly. If we hitch ourselves to the Aldari, at the very least, we can be assured of stability.
our treaty with the Aldari for food and resources holds up very well for now. As you know, they provide us with good metals and minerals, and we provide them with, well, good fish and fine grain from our fields. It seems to be working very well for a while. I am not afraid to lean on those, perhaps deepen the amounts we're trading with them. We have the reserves to spare. However, if we are making that move, and the Metri are already considering posturing, that may be seen as taking sides, so mayhap we be a bit careful before we make that call? I'm not against it, just considerations. As you all know,
Merely
Metri
expressing
outfit.
my preference.
And your considerations are always had, love. Thank you. However, as we know, the Metri outfit our knights. So, if we're going to be cutting off our relationships with them, we have to consider that with them goes a lot of our supply of horses. We'll have to look elsewhere.
And we are pretty low on horses, if I've gathered correctly.
This is news to me. Thank you, Ria. Nonetheless, let's talk a bit more broad scale. Outside of the Metri and its nonsense, which we'll keep our eyes on, certainly. Are there other things you wish to talk about right now? I'll break curtain here for the sake of it being our session. Scenes like this, where it's all of you around, like, a war table or anything like that, kind of talking, is a perfect time where you all can be allowed to make domain actions and things like that. So if you either think directly, hey, I want to make this domain action, you can say hey, I want to take a diplomacy role. How would I do that? Or it's really more general, where it's I think we should do this thing, and I say that sounds like the skill check. Let's do that. Obviously, just breaking the curtain there, making sure we all understand what this seems like. But scenes like this, where it's you all talking around the table, this is a great time to open up for things like that. To open up for our audience here, this would be a great time for our guys to look behind here. What you guys think? I'll explain to them what's happening here. Kingdoms in Warfare allows our players to take control of a domain, which effectively functions as a 5th character sheet. They are all in command of House Vairdans, and thus it has its own skills and also defenses. Diplomacy, operations, lore. Pretty sure the other one is... What's the other one I'm missing? Oh man, I'm blanking right now. Espionage. Got it. And with those 4, along with the defenses, you can effectively, rather than having your heroes themselves go off on adventures and journeys and things like that, you can also effectively, send out your agents and other resources. If these guys are all nobles now, they're not just people going out and doing the things themselves. And so what's happening here is they're being allowed to make domain moves. So think of these as skill checks, but rather than skill checks for they themselves going out and doing things, these determine how well their agents can go out in the world and accomplish their own, ends. With that said, opening it back up to you players here, and we'll go ahead and say, actually, you know what? Let's do it like this. How's this sound for everybody? As we're just about at the hour mark, just a little bit more. Let's cut to a quick break. Give you guys a minute to talk. Make sure we're all on the same page here. And then we'll cut back in, resolve what we're doing here at the table, and then get you guys on the road to the Interrecta. How's that sound, huh?
It's good.
All right, my dear Spreezus. We'll be right back. Don't you go anywhere. Don't touch that dial or that browser. We'll be right back. Thank you all for hanging out and for making this first session work. Apologies for any technical blues or first session jitters. Thank you all for being great and for all the chat love and all the +2s. You're amazing. We love you all. Take care. Bye-bye. Yeah.
Bye.
Hello and welcome back to Neon Lights Roleplay, more specifically, friends, to Against the Light, a Kingdoms in Warfare adventure. We resume with our High Council at the war table, resolving any remaining things they wish to put the domain to before they set themselves to rest and prepare for departure for the Interrecta. We'll plant ourselves right back in the scene. You all are with your most trusted members of your court. Naori is amidst her throne watching the map table. You all are free to offer anything you wish to put the domain towards.
I did those goes. I don't know what else is doing.
Listen, just do it.
I will say, I have noticed our roads are a bit expensive. I was talking with a few of our masons and other architects to see if we can get a bit cheaper roads for comparable quality. I do know the drainings of the water is a particular concern because that requires a lot of the more of the handwork to actually get that in place. I was wondering what your thoughts were on that.
She smiles. Yes, I know you, Rio. You already have a plan in place. We have more than enough workforce available currently. If you have the blueprints available, we can make plans for that as soon as possible. I'm gonna go have you roll a d20 plus whatever your guys' operation bonus is for me, real quick. To remind you, the 2 skills that can apply proficiency to operations are athletics or insight. So if you have proficiency in either one, you can add your proficiency bonus.
+2 is what it is.
Yeah, so go and roll d20 plus 2. If you have proficiency in either athletics or insight, you can add your +4 to that. Make it happen, Captain.
What?
Charles, you
Oh.
want to help yourself out there? There's a
I'm-
little button on the left with a little, looks like a little d20. It's the advanced dice roller. You click it. It'll bring up a little.
Roll that and we can do the math together.
There you go.
Oh my god.
Look at that.
Today's a thing.
Today we made magic happen, friends. Look, I'm glad you're all here.
You can also just manually put in what the modifier is, and it'll roll it. It's really helpful, but
There you go. Look at that. Like, for example, 1d20 plus 2, and it's right there. You just do it. Whatever you gotta do, make it happen. So go ahead and just make it happen, Captain, and we'll move ourselves right through. Perfection.
Finally.
You are brilliant. I love that. for
He's
you.
learning D20.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
roll
All
20
right.
is a nightmare to learn. Let's be honest here.
No one's
Yeah,
fault.
that's fair.
Moving
No one
forward.
really knows roll 20.
So, yeah, she dispatches an attendant who immediately begins to shout down a corridor to go talking about hiring some workers and sending a runner into town to go hire some manual labor to begin making the roads out to shore rest and the other towns up north towards the river, heading towards the Dashan Bridge. It's definitely going to get done in a reasonable time. She looks around, offering more to the table. Was there anything else?
Yeah, I think Airdrie almost sheepishly just. I hate to ask, because we do this so often, and he's like hesitating.
She stops you immediately.
Uh,
You want to know about the church again, yes?
It's like she knows.
yeah. Yeah. Just to see if our scouts have seen anything, updates on them.
She points to a few small symbols on the map around here, here, and here, not too far on the other side of the continent from where you are. And she begins to talk and says, "We've dispatched a few scout parties a few moons ago. It wasn't hard to get them past. We thankfully have had some contact with the locals on the Riza Isle, just off the coast of the eastern coasts. They're kind folk, but they haven't really made themselves public for reasons I can't quite discern just yet. But nonetheless, we've been in touch with them and allowed them to use we were allowed to use their ports to send some agents out. Unfortunately, their scouts have been quiet for a while. And it's in that moment, the door bursts open. An individual walks through. He is dressed in the military garb of a House Vairdans soldier, lesser padded than the heavy of your usual spearmen and others. Airdrie, you know this is one of the scouts by his equipment. His tabard is covered in blood. He is gripping at his side, an arm hanging limp, and slowly shambling into the courtroom. Just, my forgiveness, High Council, for the interruption. This was urgent. He very roughly falls to a knee and plants his arm down and kneels in front of all of you.
Thane will turn to her lead assistant and say, "Ilan, please go get some herbs for the scout. Return as quickly as you can."
Of course, mistress. And they move away just in a sliding motion. Almost you can't even see their feet move behind their robes.
Yeah, I think Airdrie's first instinct was to get up and help this guy, but like someone else speaking out is like, there is a sense of propriety here, I guess. But he's just like,
If there's any hesitation, Thane will just nod at you, go, yes.
yeah. Airdrie keeps several doses of herb patches. That's just one of the class features that I have for this ranger. And just immediately starts applying one. It takes longer. It's not like a health potion, but
Yeah,
just applies one to the biggest, most gaping wound as he just.
As you come over, the biggest
able to
one
come here.
easily is just a large sort of slash that goes through the leathers of his armor across his left side.
Mhm.
It's not deep enough to be in organ wounding, but it's definitely into the deeper flesh and has been patched up roughly, but that bandaging has come loose in the travel here. You sense this soldier is definitely stopped to get patched up and then traveled almost nonstop to get here.
Hmm.
They just, thank you, my lord. I appreciate your kindness.
Continue your continue your report, soldier. And he's like very clinical and medical about this. Just like that's how he operates. So he's like, no, this is what needs to be done.
We were deployed just off the beaches, just east of Inkren, which is right there on the map, as you all could see. My party was heading off into church territory. We hadn't really encountered or been harried much. We figured anyone we ran into had either seen us and reported or hadn't bothered to engage with us, so we kept it simple. Diplomatic clothing, light armor, no serious gatherings or deployment. We camped late and thought we were being well hidden. God, they came at us so fast.
Whom?
Elves.
Help?
Small pause. We're known to do that.
The Blade Sisters. All shields and steel. We couldn't get a single shot through.
Do I know the Blade Sisters?
You absolutely
I know
are
them.
aware that a mainline infantry of the Palefall Covenant, a gathering of elves to the south here, there are two mainline infantry units. One would be the Way Watchers, of which Airdrie you were a part of earlier in your life. They are all male, and they tend to keep to range and patrol the forest and keep the area safe. Their more militant, organized phalanx regiment are the Shield Sisters.
Blade
You're certain-
Sisters or the Shield Sisters?
The Shield Sisters, you're certain this soldier misspoke. But the delirium, it's either delirium or just being tired or not knowing the proper term. If you're wondering, yes, I did write that in my notes. That wasn't actually me blundering there.
You say that, but I'm writing it down like maybe there's a new unit. I don't know. Anyway.
I gotta know who these Blade Sisters are.
I gotta know. Or in the background, just great things. All right. Anyway, okay. So settling back into the seriousness. Just
what is our relationship with the Palefall Covenant as a kingdom?
neutral.
That's actually an interesting question.
They've spoken to you all officially. You've had an emissary, Drya, who is both their leader and high emissary that speaks out to them. To like their for as far as diplomacy goes. She's come out and spoken to you all once during the early parts of your reign over this area. Other than that, nothing.
That was probably a very interesting meeting, but
their tradesmen tend to offer easily trade for fine elven silk, which any of your merchants could have access to if they so desired. But other than that, nothing.
And the scout, would they have been flying our house colors in any discernible way?
Their tabards are depicted in house covers when they're on the march. But if they were deployed, absolutely not. They would have had just more regimental gear with simple, plain brown tabards to not depict that they're definitely gear that would show that they're soldiers, but not going to show who they're aligned to.
But the uniform he is currently wearing has damage to it, like he was injured while wearing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that has Vairdans insignia on it.
Mm-hmm. Perceptive eye. Well done, Meg.
That'd be something Lydia might point out, is like, if we're in neutral relations with them and they saw your colors, I think that means that there might be a declaration that they have swapped sides.
Without looking up, Airdries, they never swapped sides. They simply let you not ask the right questions as to who they really care about. Neutral doesn't mean friends.
Now he pipes up. We know they've been aligned with the church for a while. This aggression is uncommon, though. Worrying.
Never spent time with the Shield Sisters, but I know if I were them, I wouldn't make a declaration of war. I would simply do it.
You believe this to be aggression, then? And early hostility?
If this was an accident, they would have apologized to us before our soldier made it back. in my opinion.
You make a worrying point.
Also, I would like to make well, I don't know. It might also be their new, I guess that would be called a border policy of shoot first, ask who later? I can't seem to find the right words for it. But more of just not any hostility targeting any one person or the other, but more of just these are our lands, you are not us.
Your thought is
Leave
clever.
now.
Your thought is clever, but soldier, you were caught outside Inkran, yes? She asks the soldier, and he nods. Yes, milady. She points to the map right there. Just that's pretty far north of the elves. What were they doing up there?
Rallying.
For
It's as we've said. They would not make a declaration of war. They would simply do it. Perhaps that's what's been
writing to you.
keeping. Perhaps that's what's been keeping Jal so quiet. He controls Castle Waywatch. That's, well, a short swim away from our friends in the Palefall Covenant.
you believe if an attack may come from the elves, it might come there first before it hits us?
No,
Even better
it could
informed
go
than
either
us, and
way.
just keeping quiet. Yeah.
The elves are low in
He
number.
may be
Though.
put in a.
Mm.
Jal may be in a tight political situation, forced to claim loyalty or quietly avoid involving themselves with us.
I fear we may have to have contact with our old friends in the Crimson Order. Been a while, yes?
Will they be at the get together?
I don't believe Joe will have the time to send himself there. He tends to not be the kind for this. Then again, he has always been one for surprises, so.
We need to prepare for this. I move that we begin rallying troops. Rio, you were mentioning something about difficulty securing horses, potentially from the Metri.
Yes, I do believe I have an idea for that. However, it will be quite complex of a task and will need a bit more foreplanning than just simply speaking it and having a lot subordinates carry it out. I feel that it would be better to have a lot more hands-on control over this operation.
Morgan steps forward, their face still buried in their clipboard here. Just, if the council wishes to rally a new unit of knights, we have at least enough horses to support one full unit there. We can feed them for a while and keep them well fed in the stables here. Anything beyond that would strain our supplies, though.
Rio, what is your plan?
We are a bit not too hostile with Mitri, and as we are aware, their horses are pretty good stock. They also supply our knights with the armor and swords and spears that they use for battle. Um, horses are pretty well just led from one place to another, and we could in theory, send a caravan under the disguise of, just normal trade, normal peace trade. Um, However, in the night, steal all as much as possible of their horses, their armor, their spears, military equipment, grain, just caravan it away. It is a terribly, terribly
Risky?
razor's edge. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that is why I am hesitant to just say you do this and kind of just have it kind of just not be under direct control, and I was thinking about even attending myself.
May I suggest for your consideration, a reallotment of your resources?
Go ahead.
If we're already anticipating Mitri coming full force to this interrectum, whether it be peacocking or outright showing hostilities with the Aldani, as well as the potential for the Pale Falls or even the church moving forward towards the south, towards Waywatch. Why don't we see what we can do about interfering with some of those sellswords that we know the Mitri are keeping hired?
Now he pipes up. Certainly wouldn't be too hard. Metro don't maintain a standing army. They usually deal with mercenary bands and sellswords, save for their caravan guard. It wouldn't be too hard to deal with that.
Exactly, and if they're easily bought with coin, that's resources of our own. All it takes is a little convincing and a little gold.
She offers a very knowing
Short-term
smirk at you.
solution.
She offers a very
but-
knowing smirk at you. Just, you are wise beyond your years, Lydia.
Oh, don't count too much on that. I'm still trying to piece together what's going on with Palefall and if they're moving north because they want to get to the Dwarven lands or if they're just trying to get around the foreigners.
There's also the more worrying option that the church is ordering them to move around, in which case...
It's my assumption currently.
Do you believe they're preparing for a combined defensive?
I think they're starting to prepare for it. They might be pushing up to Risa Isle and potentially forward. Most likely towards Castle Waywatch first.
We have little contact with the denizens of Riza Isle. Alum is a good man, but he's guarded. It might be time to try bettering those relations. Perhaps pushing ourselves to offer some allegiance, if not defense, to these people. If the church is going to attack us directly, they almost need to take Riza Isle first. It may not be bad to consider this already and prepare ourselves.
It would be a good foothold
Possibly
on the other side of the continent.
Possibly some of my more well-trained men would be very useful to them. Not necessarily as a fighting force, but they know at least how the Palefall scouts will work. Understand their tactics to some extent.
I will dispatch one of my emissaries to Riza Isle. See if Alum of Riza is willing to speak with me. Perhaps it's time for our negotiations and our relationship to become more open. With that will come more information and hopefully more negotiation. For now, she looks outside the window. The eve draws, and the interrector dawns soon. You all have been on campaign for a while. Please, rest yourselves. Gives a knowing look at one of you, wherever you feel comfortable tonight. And in a day's or two time, I will see you all and as we march out. Be well, yes?
You do as well.
My lady,
Yeah.
very respectful bow.
She rises, offers you all a low bow, holding her dress, and saunters, hips way off out of the hallway down the hall. Attendants immediately come to her and offer her various things, but she waves them off and doesn't really bother much as she heads down the hall. And unless there's anything else that y'all all need to have happen in this sort of space here, I'm willing to sort of do a sort of smash cut to our next scene.
Could we get this attendant, this soldier sorted?
Oh, yeah. So if you guys want to rally a unit, depending on the unit, honestly, for this first unit, It's
I'm
just whatever
talking
you
about
want.
He meant like the dude who was injured, but
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Honestly, the moment, you Airdrie, you've taken care of him. You've gotten a good patch about his big wound. It's already working on the healing magic. Fane, your attendant, immediately comes back and has a gathering of herbal medicines and sort of patches and potions already gathered. They don't even wait for the order. They immediately go over to you, Ranger General, offer you a sort of low bow, just sir, if you don't mind.
yeah, I'm gonna let them go because I am already at the maximum of my ability to heal somebody.
Yeah, and they immediately
I
begin
got
to
a little
administer.
patch.
Yeah, they immediately begin to
Does
administer
2d6.
salves. Another attendant and servant come off and help him get to his feet again and take him off to be carted off to the medical ward to be taken care of. He seems perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. You're certain the House Vairdans medical staff is more than capable of seeing to his wounds. He'll live.
I was gonna say that I don't know if it's a whole scene, but definitely Airdrie and Lydia's allowed to come. Airdrie just takes all these notes, and yeah, he in his chambers here and all the information he's gathered while he's gone, he does actually have a
The
series of
conspiracy boards
chalkboards.
team.
Yeah, I think it's a series of chalkboards that he's constantly updating notes on because Airdrie's kind of dumb. He needs all of this information out. He works purely on gut, and so he's just sitting here just staring at this information. And that's where he meditates is here.
I like to imagine that there is just this corner room off somewhere that they just share that space.
It's just the conspiracy
I don't
room.
think Andrew uses his room so much. He has a front room that is for entertaining guests in the castle, but everything else is basically empty. He doesn't sleep in a bed. He meditates on his knees for 4 hours. He's mostly outside. He hates the indoors. So he probably just gave you the key to that. It's it's fine. People can make assumptions if they want. I don't care.
Key to the room, huh? That's pretty next level, huh?
I mean, there isn't a bed, so
Kinky.
I think there's a bed for appearances, but he's not slept in it ever.
It's many of the other rooms have
I've never touched.
Many of the other rooms have these intense 4-poster beds, and his is literally just a military cot that's been turned on its side.
Yeah.
The Spartan living
Or
for
what are those called? When they come out of the wall?
the fucking the futon kind of
Like
thing.
a daybed or
yeah,
whatever?
daybed. Yeah, daybed.
Yeah.
So that's the term. That's hilarious.
And
I
it's
love that.
it's for when somebody else is about to fall asleep in that conspiracy room.
That's adorable. I love that. Well, if y'all want to go have a look there, we can do that. I actually think.
I think it,
for the
unless you
sake
think
of-
it's a fun scene.
I have a thought. I think we're gonna come back to that scene as a bit of a flashback, if y'all don't mind.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll end on the scene of the Ranger General and the House Historian, briefly with a knowing nod and a glance, parting towards their conspiracy chamber to discuss conspiracies. As the camera and the music roll, and we see our party out on the high fields in the next day. You all are getting a good start on the interact, as you know it's more than a day's travel into Cycrest to get where you have to be. Rio, I see you with a hand there. I'm gonna come to you in just one moment.
Yes. I would like to note, Rio would have definitely taken with him, as part of his group that he goes with, one of his good assassins.
What's their name?
Adria.
Adria. Love it. Species? Ancestry?
I'm sorry.
Throw it.
They are a female human,
Cool.
commonly seen as very attractive.
Got it. She's hot as shit.
Yeah.
Hot as shit. Got it. Not a problem. Established. So,
Listen, embrace the femme fatale.
embrace. Listen, we're here for this shit, okay? We all right. We're vibing. Okay, so yeah, you're all out. I'll set the scene. So, it is definitely early in the morning. You got your start pretty early, but the sun has already peaked high over the mountains in the north now, and is now slowly traveling down in the south as it does on this planet, because this planet's not Earth. There are birds high chirping in the air, and your various steeds are moving at a swift trot as you are slowly making your way through. Just behind you all is a high cart led by twin elks, not horses. And in that cart, you would know, is, Madame Nality with her twin attendants who are taking care of her and making sure that she is properly dressed and kept well set and make sure everything's taken care of for her. She is slowly trotting out behind you, a few guards marching in tow with her. You all have the scene mostly to yourselves, though, so here's how we're going to play this out. Go ahead and tell me the following things. So if you need to think checklist, here it is. Checklist, right? As I move through each of you, tell me, 1, what does your character finally look like? Give me a full-on physical description if you haven't already. 2, what's your steed? What's your mighty mount look like as you're traveling towards the Interrecta? 2, who is at parade with you? Are any attendants with you? Or anyone by your side, nobly or importantly? And lastly, what are you doing on this low morning while you're all just traveling and minding your fucking business? Let's do the old D8, because I like calling you all out, because I like treating you like my students. House, hit me.
Okay, so...
I love you, by the way. You know that, right?
So... Perform. So Rio, he is a bit fair-faced. He's got a bit lighter toned of purple skin as he is a tiefling. He's got 2 smallish black horns adorning his more of the forehead, and just got a pretty nice long lock of brown hair. His face is well worn, I guess you would say. I don't know what that means, but it's obvious that he's like he moves around a lot, and he is used to the road. His jacket and stuff are well kept, but obviously still well worn. And from people that have known him around a while, he always seems to have a knife on him, just even in the most random of times, even after he's been searched up and down, still has one. He's kind of just always thinking, whether it be on actual important matters or not. And currently, he is taking a special attention to the pathway or the road that they are on. He's really on some road shit right now.
I'm here for it.
And so he's kind of also just like scribbling kind of in a note, kind of roughly as it's on horseback, because it's nearly impossible to write neatly on horseback and shit.
He's doing your best. That's all that matters.
Just like,
I like that you don't even get in the carriage to do it. You're just on the horse because that's your habit. I really like that.
Just trying to write, just like fucking.
He's doing
God damn it!
You just make sure you make the downstrokes when the horse goes down and the upstrokes when the horse goes up.
It's all about the stroke, bro. It's all about the stroke.
It's all about the timing. Yeah.
You'll notice Adria is next to you. She has a large, sort of broad knife out, and is kind of looking at her reflection in the blade. And it's just kind of checking her hair a bit. Just, yeah. Quickly sheathed it.
Yeah. And with him as well on the other side of his horse would be Morgan, his ever faithful assistant. That
They
is
are still busy in
definitely totally getting jealous that he has brought in this beautiful
Assassin lady.
assistant.
Oh yeah,
This
you can.
beautiful assistant lady,
It's hard
like,
to see it for the rest of you from the
place.
angle, but Rio, you definitely can easily tell that behind the clipboard, they just occasionally make glances over at Adria, just. Mild grumble here or there for those who are more inclined to hearing. Let's go ahead and pass the scene on. I'm loving this dice thing, by the way. Vermin, you're next. Hit it. What's Fanehead looking like right now?
All right, is my mic on?
Yup, I can hear you. Coming
Yes.
through loud and clear. Roger Wilco,
Perfect.
Bravo, Roger Charlie. Sorry.
All right, so Fane, as was said earlier, is like 8 feet tall, but most of the time is kind of like stooped and crouched with her wings like curled in, kind of holding on to the collar of whatever robe she happens to be wearing. She wears like very fine silks with like embroidery and all the riches that a decorated hero believes is owed to them. She has her plumage is and hair because harpies are weird. Is a mix of like brownish, greenish, all the way down to like kind of iridescent black. I don't know if you've ever picked up like a bird's feather and seen it's like red and green and stuff. So everything near her face is like browns and greens. But down her like arms, she has these long black feathers. Her steed is a gigantic elk with its antlers woven through with these strips of green ribbon and coin from various places, and her elk like jingles as it doesn't trot like a normal horse. It kind of like is hopping the whole time, but it really, where it would I think bother a normal person, Fane has very light bones, and so she's just kind of like hovering over the elk every time it bounces.
Float.
Ilan, who is Thane's assistant and confidant, is another person from the like Fey enclaves, and is a Medusa. So snakes for hair. Has not like a fancy Medusa that can like paralyze people, but just like snakes for hair.
That's it.
And kind of darker bronzy skin, and she is following on a less big elk because she's not 8 feet tall.
Less big. You don't deserve it.
Less big. I mean,
More heroes get big elk.
See, you are
I need a really big elk.
running the 5 stages
I'm
of
8
for
feet
you
tall.
over there.
I just, Vermin, I made a comment to you a while ago about brain cells, and there's a lot happening right now in my Discord DMs, and just, we'll get to it. We're gonna get to it, I promise. I fucking promise, okay? Vermin, I love you, okay?
Wow.
I love you so much. Let's keep it moving. I'm gonna roll the fucking die again.
Wait, what am I
Wait,
doing?
you're not
I have
done.
to say the thing I'm doing.
Finish.
Yeah,
the
that's
thing I'm
true.
doing is my elk is pulled alongside Nauri's carriage, and like we're having a conversation through this elk's kind of casually.
Yeah, Melody is kind of like leaned out of the cavern. One of her guards is like, she has like a guard on either side of the cavern next to her. So one is like kind of sitting there with spear in hand. She's literally just leaned into his lap over to like talk to you effectively. You can see him there just kind of staring very uncomfortably. Just.
Yeah.
She just,
Anytime he catches Fane's eyes, she winks at him.
he just
Yeah.
immediately cuts away. Just. But yeah, she leans over and just. And how is my high emissary today?
Oh, enjoying the weather, enjoying the company.
With no look up to the sky at all, just with no look around at all. Just yes, it is beautiful out here today.
You're looking surprisingly well rested given the events of last night.
Oh well, you get as many restless nights as I do. Sometimes a good workout's all you need. The guard is now very visibly just like cutting his eyes left and right. Looks over at his opposite. The opposite's just like.
Just sitting here like.
All right, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and let that one ride as we move on. We got two left.
The ledge is down.
It's just, having made guards very uncomfortable, we take it next over to our dear Ranger General. What's
So,
got going on?
Yeah. So, Airdray is like, he is an elf. So he's like this just supremely pretty looking person, just all the time, despite the fact that he lives in the woods most of the time, and he kind of likes it there. So like, his skin is always clear, his hair is always perfect, he never seems like he's stumbling ever, but Also, he's the person where he has a horse. It's a regular horse that he doesn't ride in. It's
A regular horse.
It's in like the caravan and all his stuff's on it. But the thing he is doing is he is running alongside through whatever bush or tree there is and constantly like looking at whatever herbs there are or like that he can find and like scouting because he can run as fast as his horse can. So he kind of doesn't see the point. So he's just kind of phoretically patrolling this whole caravan and constantly scouting and looking around. And it's not always like, gotta be aware of danger. Half the time he's like just looking at what the caravan is doing, or he stops by someone and like has a comment to make. If he weren't so polite, he'd be kind of like some sort of hyperactive child that constantly is just checking in on everyone. So like, I think he's also like wearing his formal military jacket, but just like a regular like white shirt underneath instead of like the formal whole attire. And it's somehow like perfectly clean, even though he's constantly running through everything. I'd find this man a little annoying at just how like nice he is all the time in real life. Anyways.
Well, all right, fair enough. Tell me a bit more about this person, by the way, real quick. The person you're traveling with.
Yeah, so he does have one assistant. Their name is Eleanor Reese, and he just refers to her as Reese. And I think at least one point, he's like, Reese, check in. And this is not his assistant, this is his lieutenant. This is the person who like follows him everywhere that he gives commands through most of the time. She's a human woman who's local, and more than once he's probably said something about her father or grandfather because Airdrie trained them in the same sort of ranger-y tactics and military arts in the same way.
Yeah, and they're kind of not so much fussy, but still kind of just like aware and actively focused. As you train them, they're still kind of like keeping their
Head on a swivel, yeah.
Yep. And just kind of keeping their direct focus, as you train them, keeping focus. Everything seems pretty much calm as you're all traveling, either busying yourself with conversation or company. As you're traveling, though, you do find yourselves noticing that up ahead, there appears to be a gathering of logs or tree trunks ahead in the road. A lot of them, enough to entirely stop the caravan. And you're almost certain there wasn't a big enough storm to cut down that many trees around here recently.
I think Airdrie probably would have gone to whoever is, I guess, whoever's in charge at the front of the caravan. I don't know if that's where they would find Lydia or Fane or Rio, but whichever one of the three of you who's up front and already reported to them before the caravan got there.
I'll say you're all pretty close to each other in sort of a rough diamond at the head of the caravan. There are guards stationed at the highest end, and they're actually the ones who are like now coming back and just reporting in. Just attention, high council. There is obstruction in the wood ahead. Oh, fuck! You're totally right. I am sorry. I'm gonna resolve this. Actually, don't you worry. I got an idea. Stay right there. So.
Yep.
I gotta think. So,
Hi.
don't worry. We're actually gonna get right. That just means this happens faster, actually. So, as you're all noticing the obstruction in the wood, and the guards come to let you know that there is something being held up in the wood, Airdrie, with your perceptive, your ranger focus and your training, you immediately notice a shuffling in the bushes off to your right. And it's not even a thing I'm gonna make you roll about or worry about because they don't make themselves hidden for very long. 1. And then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then from the other side of the road, 4 or 5 more, for a grand total of 10 humans of various shapes and sizes, dressed in gear of various leathers and occasional plates of metal, and definitely all armed, shamble their way out of the wood on either side of you all. There's a woman at their head. She makes her way directly towards the head of you, takes a scan across all the 4 of you, as if she's looking for the one she thinks looks like the fanciest, settles on the only person we have yet to focus on here in the High Historian, and just, well, look what we fished up here. And as I move the scene over to you, since I missed you earlier, and I'm very sorry for that, my brain is everywhere. Go ahead and take your time to describe what she sees, what's happening here, and go ahead and mold the scene as you will, Lydia. Go ahead. It's all on you.
Well, I think it is very fitting that she would pick up on Lydia because she does carry herself very highly. If it weren't for the fact that Naori is actually of a noble lineage, she would carry herself as if she were nobility. Has very fair skin, sharp features, and piercing blue eyes with long, wavy black hair. Rather attractive woman who knows she's attractive and carries herself as such.
Solid.
Although the only flaw in that is that she does have a very prominent scar on her one side of her forehead. But nevertheless, she does dress very nicely, even though they are traveling. It's a nice cloak traveling attire. She's even got some jewelry on. That's just how she rolls. She always wears a particular set of jewelry. On a pure white horse. The mane and everything is just white. And the whole time through the ride, she doesn't have an attendant. She's mostly just operates on her own. And she, unlike Rio, has actually perfected the art of riding while riding a horse.
It's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of helps with that, doesn't it?
She does have it doesn't differentiate from her normal calligraphy at all either. Like
It's like, damn, that's too good. Damn it.
That's hilarious. I love that. So yeah, she just kind of like takes you in, gets a good look. You know, it definitely looks at like the white horse and definitely says like, oh yeah, you're the posh one here. You're the one with the coin in your pocket. She has the last of a cigar in between two fingers. She's definitely been finishing it for a while, so there's not a lot of it left. But she kind of with a bit of kind of like a strike of a small bit of steel against the end of like her glove to kind of make a bit spark. Slowly brings life to it and brings it back in for a huff. Just well. Aren't you a pretty one?
I think as a side note, Airdrie is standing right behind Lydia and is already like motioned to Reese, just like said her name like Reese. And she's facing the ones that Airdrie can't be looking at, but he's already like very defensive.
Lydia just gives it up. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Thane hisses at them like a cat.
Yeah.
Lydia just gives her a pleasant smile and says, well, I'm not one to turn down a compliment. Thank you. May I ask why you've barred our path?
Oh, sorry. Just construction work. You know, try to get some improvements done on the road here. You see, we own this road here, actually. And, you know, when you own a road and someone travels along it, they usually tend to pay a toll, right? You understand how these things tend to work. She's like a well-traveled woman.
Are they still in Vairdans' territory?
Oh, absolutely. You're just at the edge.
I'm sorry, but you are still within Vairdans' regions. Therefore, you do not own this road. And I don't see why I would need to pay you for a road that you do not own. If anything, I should be taxing you because you're taking our resources in order to impede the safe travels of our people.
Foxy, would Rio like know like if House Vairdans was the one to like actually like put manpower into building this road as well?
Go ahead and roll history for me, and I'll come right back to that.
Alrighty.
She takes in all the words you spit out at her, Lydia, and she just kind of like cocks an eyebrow. You don't need to roll anything. You can tell she just half of it just slid right past her. She's just, well, it's funny the High Council should be the one traveling this road, because I actually was going to clarify that, well, the toll procedure is normal here. That's, not why we're here, lady. I should be specific. Lady Lydia. Yeah, we know who you all are, obviously. High Council, right?
Oh, then by all means,
You know
clarify
here.
what you're doing here.
Well, it's real simple.
And
Gonna need that pretty lady in the cart. Yeah, she stretches and just says, "Gonna need that pretty lady in the cart."
I'm afraid that may not be possible.
I had a feeling you'd say that. She throws a cigar somewhere. As the
Uh,
moment it hits the ground, all the other
Mhm.
guys draw their swords and weapons. It's very clearly about to be a more hostile situation unless someone's going to move to defuse.
Airdrie doesn't have weapons out, and he will like sort of step forward, and he's gonna try a persuasion roll. I think it's just, man, I'm not sure if you know who we are, other than who's in the cart, and then just leans in real close. Doesn't have any weapons on him. Doesn't even put hands towards her. Just, you don't want to do this. I promise.
I'm gonna need you to
I'll
roll
try to persuade her
intimidation.
just not to do this.
Are you
damn, I'm
trying
not as
to
good at
scare? You're
intimidation.
trying to scare her. I'm gonna need intimidation here. I'm sorry, friend.
That's fair. But like, he's not boasting. He's not even saying violence. He's just like, you don't want to. But I'll do intimidation. It's fine.
If you're intimidating, as you say all of that, like, I think for the most part, Fane is like stooping so that she's not, two heads taller than everybody else. She gets big and she like ruffles her feathers and her hackles in a very
I'm
predatory.
gonna use a maneuver
stance.
to make this roll better. So, commanding presence.
All right. So yeah, go ahead and do that maneuver and give me your roll and tell me what you got for me, big boss.
That's 21.
All right. Well, I mean, you win. Wait, no, hold on. Actually,
Hey.
let me add some numbers. Hold up. I gotta add numbers. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, no, you still win. Barely, but you still win.
I got all the social maneuvers, baby.
She doesn't immediately. So she looks at you as you kind of like look at her like this and just. You should know I've killed my fair share of elves, but she does take sort of a half step down, her shoulders shrinking back a bit. Her soldiers don't sheath any of their weapons. She's just like, if you're willing to talk, we could be talked into this. I don't know if you guys know this, but we do know who you all are. And if it's that serious, she looks you up and down a bit, just, I'll tell you we were paid for this.
Really?
Uh,
Might I ask by whom?
I don't think you know how this works, lady.
Yeah, Airdrie would step in
Oh,
front of her.
come on now.
Every face. May we pay you to know whom?
Make an offer.
Okay, so Airdrie doesn't want to like completely take point on this, but he will just. How about 1/3 of what they were going to pay you, and we don't send you to prison for this? You're not
1/3.
wanted in our territories forever.
1/3. You got 2,000 gold talents on you?
Do we?
We don't. I mean, technically, we have those.
I don't know how much
nation,
we
but, like,
roll with.
You have exactly 2,000 gold talents in your treasury for the entire house.
Yeah.
might
Oh.
I
Damn.
roll some insight to see if that is them fucking with me? Because that's what
Absolutely.
that seems
Yeah.
like.
You could absolutely
my
roll insight to
insight.
see if they're fucking with you.
Yeah, I don't need any of my maneuver die to deal with these guys. I'm going to also add a d6 with tactical assessment. A 1? It's a waste.
It's still
That's 23.
Let's see how would she. Oh well, she couldn't. She can't make them all good rolls. She's talking out of her ass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that maybe this is maybe some lore stuff you could be pulling in, but just. Are you telling me that another nation nearby that cares about us paid you 6,000 talents?
She just. Okay.
Front?
Yeah,
She-
up front, we'll let you leave with it.
She smirks a bit. Just, okay. Cuts you a smirk that tells you she is absolutely no longer bullshitting. It was 2,000 total.
I think that Airdrie understands he's the military dude and not the strategist, technically. And probably, yeah. I mean, like Lydia's the one who she's talked to most, and just a question eyebrow of like, is that worth it? A third of that is what? I can't think of that number. Sorry, 8,000
600.
or 800? 600. 8,000. Wow, my math went backwards. All right.
Listen,
Anyway.
imagine doing math. She looks back and
Good at math.
just don't know. You got 600 in that wagon?
No. To Lydia, just like, is that worth it? Just someone else's input here.
How closely are they grouped?
There's 3
Fireball range.
directly in
Fireball
front of you. About 4 or so. No, not sorry. About 2 off to your left. Another gathering of 5 a bit further back to your right. So 10 in
Are
total.
they within 10 feet of each other? The last group of 5.
Most of them. I'd say. Give me a quick second.
Like if I shot at the one
5.
in the center.
I was gonna. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna full transparency. My plan was roll a d6, and if I rolled up under than 5, say that many of them were grouped together close to 10 feet. I rolled a 5. So yeah, they're all pretty squished together right now. I don't fucking know why. They're not smart. Do you think?
They don't know spacing. They've never had a grenade thrown at them.
I don't think grenades exist in this world. Or do
Yeah,
they?
I
know.
know.
Lisa's
I
facing
do
down,
have
so
a
she might have
bomb
just.
grenade.
Yeah, that's maybe
Oh.
what they're all clumped together because Reese has been like just giving him the eyes, like, yeah, fight me.
Yeah, listen, I mean, what's happening here, Fame? What are you doing?
I kind of wanted to look over all of them and kind of gauge an assessment based on kind of what they're wearing, how they carry themselves, whether who might be actually outfitting them.
Ooh.
Because if they're being
Sherlock Holmes
paid,
shit.
that means that they probably were also given assets,
Can you,
even if they were minute.
Especially 2,000 talents. Like, that's
mainly
nation
operates
money.
via, like,
Can you roll me like insight? I will take an argument for another skill if you feel like another one's appropriate. Lydia,
Investigation, maybe, but I don't know if that's good.
I can
for
argue
me.
investigation. I'll take argument for investigation here.
are they
work
flying
with
just any
that.
sigils?
Nope,
Do they like have
not
any
really.
symbols on them? No? Okay.
Not noticeably.
So let's see.
Give me what you got.
It was a 17 flat roll. Let me double check what my mods are.
Who knows? I mean, you should honestly, because I should.
Listen.
You
I have a
should,
whole
actually,
ass
if you built your
sheet.
character.
I have a whole ass sheet. We'll
You
add
got it, don't worry about it.
So with a +7, because I'm going to go ahead and take one of those +2s that I got from chat, make it a 24.
Whew. Well, all right, but the 24, their weapons look pretty new. They definitely got freshly made swords and the one thing, and knives, the ones that have them drawn. You can see their gear is pretty uniform. They definitely all just kind of hit up a local blacksmith and said, "We need this many swords and knives made," or they were supplied with them. You can't really tell directly, but their swords are pretty new. Their gear's pretty roughshod, scrapped together, not very well maintained. You wager whoever, if they were paid that much, they were just paid that much. They weren't given anything else. If that's even true. But you wager Airdrie by the look on her face that she wasn't lying about the pay.
For the actual weaponry, and this is, I guess it could be a relative lore question. I imagine each region, each domain kind of has their own style with how they handle weaponry, especially given resources.
I love you all so much.
With that,
I'm gonna get out of
like
this.
a thousands of years old lich. Like
I just
they're gonna
we
like.
weren't giving that
be
away
like,
to this thing yet. Come on, man.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
There could be plenty of things that know lots of things. And, I'm sure someone who traveled a lot has talked to plenty of older things that know lots of things.
I'm a historian. I make it my point to know a lot of things, including what region's specialty in weaponry. So they have brand new weapons. Where can I gauge where they got these weapons from?
I'm gonna go ahead and say that by virtue of the sort of slight curve in their sword, you can tell that these are definitely probably they're either locals because the hilt seems like the hilt's pattern seems like something you've seen in villages not too far from here. But the quality of the steel seems like it was pretty well made. So they might be a gang that traveled south from Alderi territory.
Hmm.
I'm gonna say something and see if I get a reaction.
Do it.
So you mean to tell me that the Alderi with 2,000 talents to offer you perhaps maybe gave you the steel for your weapons, but didn't seek to outfit you with any sort of regalia or armaments with the intention of taking House Vairdans?
She crosses her arms. You must not be that bright, lady. Northlanders ain't pay us.
So who'd you steal the swords from?
Then perhaps it was the matron? No?
Let's say you're a little far west? Does she quickly realize she's said a lot and goes, oh, shit. Look, listen. You're asking a lot of questions. We were just paid to do a job, and looking at you all, we assumed that at least one of the High Council was going to be escorting Madame Vairdans to the Interrectum. We didn't expect all of you. I thought 10 of us would be cool, but go, take chops for Rio.
Rio will have a blazing smile on his face.
Oh, no.
And say, and you seem to have a lot of answers.
She literally takes a step back, I sense I've made some kind of mistake here, okay? Listen, we can all...
You
should have made of some kind.
When you came across an entire caravan with 10 people.
She, again, continues to wilt, listen, Your Highness, we just thought we could get an easy job. You'd all be unprepared, maybe sluggish in the morning, and listen, there's a goat passage right over down the hill.
Interrupting as, picking up on what Rio is doing, Fane summons, a crackling bow that looks like it's made of lightning and spider silk.
Oh, no! So that was
That was a really cool fucking description.
Yeah, that one wisdom check combined to that. So she again, you can visibly see those of you close to her, and I'll see sweat on her brow, okay. This is a bit above my pay grade, even for 2,000 talents. Listen, I don't want to out who paid us. The guy was pretty clear that if I got public about that, it would get pretty messy for me. Listen, I there's a goat passage right through the trees there. If you want to take the caravan right through there, it goes around this passage here, and just pretend you didn't see us. We'll say that we'll rough ourselves up. We'll say you guys got us good, and we'll carry on. All right, we'll get paid. Y'all can go on about your day, and we. And she is now taking several steps back away from all of you.
What are your thoughts on this negotiation? And Rio will begin to get off of his horse.
Oh man. I'm trying to decide because part of me is Airdrey's we really shouldn't let bandits just be out here. That's not okay.
Yeah.
They have something to do is the problem.
They had something to do. They had a goal in mind. They were paid by so it
They
is
can still tell us that.
Yeah.
Yes, that is very true.
It's I think that Airdrey, with his sort of, as we said in our personal chat, cold retriever energy, and the philosophy that he's already mentioned, I'm sorry for everyone if this makes combat. Airdrey is going to dash forward and punch her in the gut with a... She's going to have to make a charisma save to not be able to lie.
Always the first act.
Give me a moment.
As soon as you make a move,
yeah, sorry, but
not necessarily
no,
reading the situation correctly. I fire a single arrow into the group of 5 to my right, at the person closest to the center. And there's a huge crackle of thunder as they explode in lightning.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna bother to make you roll on that. You like Airdrie, you twitch. She flinches. Yeah. There is a and then everyone watches an arrow fly out across, land, and just in absolute wonder just explode in a shower of spark and thunder. There was a blinding white light some of you have to avert your eyes from. When you look back, there is a crater. And not 5 bandits.
If I have to, if she starts struggling, also a second strike and then force her to make a con save, because those are 2.
No, I'm not even going to bother with the save. You run up, you slam her with this punch in the stomach to put the not lie thing on her. She takes the punch, steps back, just.
Gentlemen, I think for your best interest, if you just put your swords down. Looking at the remainder.
As that flash went on,
go ahead.
Rio would have began running like full force at this group of 3, readying his nunchucks.
Rio, can you do me a favor and roll a dexterity save?
Yes. Dexterity save. Let's see. That is this link.
13 is enough. So, several things happen. First, Thane, you hear a twinge from a tree just behind the group of you. The next, Rio, you feel that weird feeling you get in the back of the head when you're like certain someone's about to whack you with something. And you jerk your head off to the right, just as a single missile of some kind sails out, punctures, and digs itself into the dirt, having gone directly through the chest of the leader of the bandits. She looks at you all as you look at her, kind of confused at the look you're all giving, before she looks down and sees the blood leaking from her chest, and then her mouth. And she falls over.
So Lydia,
I think RJ would catch her. Just, you shouldn't make deals with people willing to topple countries.
does not look at her or the other scene, but whipping around to look to see where that came from.
Thane, you're definitely aware where the arrow came from. No question.
I fly at them.
I'm going to need you to roll some sort of skill check, justify whatever you'd like it to be.
What feels right for flight? Acrobatics?
Do it.
Yeah.
Also, what are these? The 3 dudes that Rio was running towards.
Panicking.
What did they do?
They're panicking.
Their
boss
their
just died.
weapons and kiss themselves.
Yeah, Rio is going to try and take his nunchucks and like wrap it around one of the dudes, like probably like the neck or something, and like take the chain, wrap it around, and hit both of the buttons.
Dude just can't move now.
Yeah, so he just can't move. For chat, who doesn't know, Rio has obtained 2 immovable rods that are in kind of like nunchucks with about 1 feet of chain in between them. So, yeah.
So he's just been shackled. And
yeah. So I'm not even going to have you roll. Don't even bother to roll. You get to one of the bandits that's trying to get away. He trips a bit, so you're able to just get a lock around them and press both buttons. They try to like move, and you just and they just freeze, clearly recognizing that they're not getting away. The acrobatics 10. So, this is actually really thematic. Oh my god, this is perfect. So, I need to say several things. One, you managed to You come up in a high arc with your wings, and then dive bomb down into where you see some movement in the trees. It's a quick swipe, trying to like take them off guard. They are prepared for you. They jump back and apparently have an escape plan as they grab onto a rope and begin to swing themselves away. They also like chuck behind them a quick cloud of something that buffs off in a burst of smoke. So they're clearly prepared to escape from someone. So they honestly definitely make themselves pretty hard to chase. If you wanted to pursue them, you probably could. It'd be another skill check that'd be a harder DC if you wanted to.
If I see them,
I will say
okay.
Before you get there, as you come out of your swipe down at them, you get a good look at your claw, like your foot claw. You have a satchel that was on their waist. You just snatched it from them.
I'm going to cast Hunter's Mark on them regardless.
All right. That's you. Wait, hold on. Magic is happening. Tell me how that happens.
For
It's just a
Fane,
verbal
I
component.
think. Yeah, I think she whispers something in Sylvan. And it's a short phrase for something like "Eyes of a forest be on you," and
Ooh.
yeah, the trees around her start shivering in the direction, almost imperceptibly in the direction that this person's traveling. I will, before I pursue, I will fling that satchel to Lydia, who I make eye contact with.
Okay, so you do that. Don't roll. Fuck it. That happens. Lydia, you catch it. No, don't worry about it. That happens. You gonna pursue?
Yeah.
Give me a skill check.
Okay.
Actually,
give me a quick
really
second
quick.
because. Go ahead with whatever you're
I
about
actually
to
had
say.
a quick question. If the other bandits look like they are mostly surrendering, Airdrie might go after Lydia, just to like back her up.
You mean Fane?
Or sorry, yeah, Fane. He'll go and back up Fane. He'll take an action to cast Longstrider. Now he has 60 feet of movement. He's just going to try and back her up.
All right. Airdrie, as you are a bit behind the escaping person in the chasing van, I'll say it takes a little bit longer for you, so you go ahead and also make a skill check for me. DC for you is a bit higher, but both of you go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Although I'm going to say I'm just following Lydia. I'm going to
Sure.
trust her
Hey.
to go with you and track this guy.
Lydia, staying.
And
Survival. I like that. So like you're arguing that kind of like you're navigating through the woods more, trying to like use that to your advantage here.
Yeah, also I have advantage on survival rolls when I'm tracking them.
Well, there it is.
I've got a question.
Hit me.
From the person, when Fane went to attack them, were they thievable? Like, were they visible in a normal sense?
As in
And just
like,
able to, like, were they
the person who
cloaked or
shot?
something? Yeah.
With the shot. They were. I'd say from your position, if you were whipping around fast enough, you definitely could have gotten a glimpse at them.
Okay. I was trying to get an idea on if they were, like, actually cloaked or using something to hide themselves, or if it was a legitimate person.
Just a person. They definitely weren't doing anything magical to hide themselves.
They were just a dude.
Just a guy. Just a dude being a guy.
Just a dude killing the people they hired.
You know.
And so, as most of this is happening, Rio will call to Morgan and tell them to just keep an eye on them, make sure they don't do anything. If they do, you know what to do. And he will just begin running, like trying to keep up with Airdrie, but just like he is not keeping up, and he is like pumping, and Airdrie is just.
All right, let me set the scene real quick before we get out of here. I gotta set this up. So, don't bother rolling, Chouse. I'm gonna bring us right back in here with this scene real quick. Here's how this plays out. Lydia, or sorry, not Lydia. No, I'm doing it. Damn it, Fane. You are moving with speed and accuracy through the trees, darting across the canopy, dodging branches and low trees. Your target is mostly focusing entirely on getting away from you. They don't really bother to try to distract you or harm you in the way. They just try to solely run. Eventually, there is, as the camera sort of pans around your target towards and follows Tuska behind them, there's a brief flap as a tree branch to cover you, and you are no longer behind them. Your target looks back, assumes they're gone, keeps moving, and there's just this shadow that falls over them. As you come down, both legs pinned high, and just swoop down on them. They don't scream or make any noise, but the moment you have them, they start to struggle. Just immediately trying to kind of like, they draw a knife and try to like get at your legs, and their movements belie training, no question. But you have
Well, to paint that picture for a second, it's absolutely the thing that like birds of prey do, where like I grab them, I go up, and then I toss them and catch them.
Yeah, they're like
they pull that knife out, and I see it coming, and I'm just like let go, and they start to fall, and they drop the knife, and I grab them again.
Yep, and the knife is now falling. They're scrambling for it, but it hits the ground. They're just like now trying to like throw like strikes at your legs. You know, anything they can. Like, just.
And I turn around, and I probably hear Airdrie, and
he's not being stealthy, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I immediately just like turn around and am holding them as I like screech to a stop in front of him.
And yeah, you slam to a stop. The person is still kind of like gripping at your ankles, but is not actively struggling, more just holding there in a sort of show of defiance. As I'll say very rapidly, just to set the scene properly, definitely Rio, as you were already moving, arrive. And as you arrive, not too long after you arrive, Lydia, you are told by one of the guards that you can go ahead and pursue the rest if you'd like to, that they can guard Madame Vairdans with no problems. But you haven't arrived on the scene.
All these bandits are tied up or whatever.
Yeah, obviously they're securing the bandits. Some of them ran the fuck off and have gotten away. Some of them we've gotten our good hands off. But you're certain that no matter what, with the shit they've seen today, they're not going to be around here any longer. They're done with the life of banditry.
I'd run if I were them.
They're gonna get clean. They're gonna find religion. Which one? Who knows?
Finds religion.
Hopefully not the one we're against.
Yeah, hopefully not that one. But in either case,
Hopefully not them.
So in any case, Vane, you have this individual who is wrapped up in garbs and that doesn't belie any facial features, pinned down with your feet claws. They cannot escape you effectively. They have you grappled. I'll say you take a check every now and then to see if you get up, but don't worry about that for right now.
I have a word for that, but we'll see in a sec. Sorry.
Cool. Well, in that case, rapidly, Airdrie and Rio, not too long after, arrive just as you finish their struggling. And you were also quickly assembled in the scene. Lydia is on her way, but is not there just yet. I'll leave the scene on the three of you for now. Please note, Lydia, you still have the satchel.
Going through it as I go.
I'm very glad you said that.
Yeah, so I think as soon as Airdrie arrives on the scene and like Fane has this dude pinned or this person, Airdrie just like immediately rushes over, no words, and is just going to repeatedly try and stun them. So it's just like this extremely precise, like sort of finger jab into various points in their body, trying to find like the right nerve to get them to like be unable to move for long enough. And his goal is he's going to keep on making them make the save until they fail, and then tie him up as soon as they're stunned for a whole round and can't struggle.
I'm gonna go ahead and just skip the timing on that, and just say that absolutely, without a problem, you eventually get them secured and held down with no problem. They are not going anywhere. You will note the entire time, though, they were dead silent. Not a word was uttered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as soon as that person's like tied up, and we don't have to worry about them escaping if someone rolls low, now he'll stop and be like, I know you're not going to answer me, random assassin, but that was a really good shot. I'm surprised you didn't hit me. Right?
They say nothing.
Fane, like that was pretty. I was impressed. We should probably take his fingers, just in case, so they can't make that shot again.
Fane will literally just like grab the hand and like bite at the knuckle.
Yikes!
Oh shit!
You can hear.
Oh wow!
Hang on, actually, give me a second to roll a con save real quick. Oh, that's a bad roll. You hear this sound? It's a scream, but not. It's like a.
It's an I actually don't have a tongue scream.
Fane will take her like forward left talons and work them under whatever like face coverings on this person and rip it off.
You've ripped down the face covering. They're human. You can tell by the relatively smooth skin on their face. They have a mouth that sees to a scar down their face. And as you kind of rip it down, you can see that, well, one, as they open their mouth wider, just a bit, well, hey, Meg, you nailed it. They don't have a tongue. But
He's the smartest one in the room, even when she's not in the room.
Meg, insight for me? Or not Meg, sorry, apologies, Meg. Vermin, insight for me, super fast.
Yeah, you got it.
May I roll insight after?
I will say
18.
I will say it's close enough. It's fine. Don't worry about it. One of his teeth falls out as his mouth is open, and then he clenches down.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I know what that is. I don't know if Airdrie would though.
Airdrie, you'd probably be aware of this eventually if you give it him. Actually, you know what? Give me like a medicine or nature roll or something like that. Airdrie.
When does Rio pop up on the
Definitely
scene?
medicine.
Just about.
Yeah,
Rio,
sorry,
you're arriving
+4.
as this happens.
Forget that +4.
Yeah.
Okay. Would he have like seen the tooth fall?
Yes. You went into the fall. You saw the clench.
Okay.
The clench. It's a 27. Forget the +4. I accidentally left the modifier on.
Suicide pill. Easy, no question.
Yeah. Is there a way I reach into this person's mouth and stop them from doing that? Or is it too late? I think it's probably too late. That's pretty
I'm going to
quick.
say, yeah, it's a little hard. Fane, you are right there. If you want to try a roll and like athletics or acrobatics, try to stop this, I will allow it.
Yeah, we can do an acrobatics check.
Do it up.
You just hook them in the air so that the pill falls out of their mouth.
Yeah, just more bird shit.
Fuck. Would Rio
23.
know that it's a suicide pill just like from what he's seen?
Probably.
Like from what he knows. Cuz like if he's like able to like recognize that, then he would like immediately begin like trying to like pry open their mouth, like when your dog gets a hold of something that it shouldn't, and you just kind of like pry its mouth open. That's I don't know if he would like immediately catch on.
Yeah, I think we're saying that that Fane is the close one that could actually do that, because Airdrie's also doing that if he recognizes it.
Yeah,
so.
I'm gonna let Fane give the shot. What you got for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Fane
23.
returns her back foot to keep holding the body in place, and then, like, with her front foot, turns their face to the side and, like, uses her back talon to just scoop and make them gag.
Oh, yeah, 23, easily. No question.
Stop that.
You get... And they definitely can't speak. But... They definitely clearly, like, you can see their eyes through the kind of mask. They look panicked, just like this is kind of like the final out, for them.
Wasn't supposed to happen.
They don't struggle though. Like the moment they recognize, like, fuck, the Omega plan failed. They're just not moving though. They're just. And I'll say it's as this settles, Rio, you're already there. You can see this happening. Just behind you, just behind you, not too far, is the House Historian, Lydia, who you all will notice is rummaging through, or at least looking over, something that she definitely pulled from that satchel. And as we fall into the scene of one member of the High Council with someone held in the chokehold, and not me, unfortunately, and the others watching on, let's go ahead and settle into you guys. Actually, no, wait, sorry, hold on, because I like the cinematics here. Let's make this even better. I'm going to cut to a break. I'm going to tell y'all what he tells y'all, and then we'll cut back to it with you guys traveling back towards the Interrected. If y'all want to tell the audience what y'all learned, that's on y'all. Spreezes.
And it's no break.
Take us out. We'll be
Good
right
luck,
back.
Scotty.
Going over it.
BRB.
Love y'all.
Welcome back, darlings, to what was certain to be. It's going to be a conclusion to a setting, let me tell you. This is going to be the conclusion to session 1 of Against the Light, our Kingdoms and Warfare adventure. Where we last left off, the High Council had thwarted a kidnapping attempt by some lowly bandits, but certainly gained some information from an erstwhile assassin, which they appear to have captured, although they discovered the assassin lacked the tongue. They dispatched them back to Westreach, where the healers would tend to their missing appendage, and then the torturers would tend to the information in their head. But alas, the High Council has more important matters to attend to, as the Interrecta awaits. We see them now back on the road, traveling again in caravan, a bit more alert perhaps this time, but definitely still trying their best to, maintain a simple calmness. And so, as the caravan travels, you'll see out of the side of the caravan again, pokes the curious face and more curious look of Madame House Vairdans. Just, well, that was certainly exciting. What was all that fuss about? You ran off certainly so fast. Just kind of looking around at all four of you.
Unfortunately, an assassin. And
An
not just the
assassin?
bandits. An assassin hired the bandits. The assassin,
Was that arrow
we
meant for
believe,
me?
was hired by the church. No. They were trying to kidnap you. The arrow was for the bandit leader who knew who hired them.
The church? The Everlight?
Yes.
Yes.
This is
That is our
It's-
main suspicion.
damning news. We've had
It seems
next.
that it seems that there was the person pulling the strings here believed that the kidnapping attempt might fail, and the letter makes mention of a later meeting, but they have wisely kept that among themselves.
Dark tidings afoot, certainly. We've had little contact with the church in our years since our reign. What could they possibly want with me?
Does it happen to
I think AJ would smirk.
when? Does it happen to state when the second meeting is to happen? Like, is there a date?
No.
Unfortunate.
It
Well-
says after.
Haha.
That's a
Probably
shame.
this evening it'd be impossible to get the information.
Unfortunately, we don't have that time to waste. The Interrecta is next noon. We have to move. We'll have to keep our
I
eyes
think
open
Aaron-
for now, though.
I think Airdrey's actually in the cart to have this conversation, and he's going to look at Lady Vairdans quite intently. And I'm afraid you bringing me in might at least be part of their enmity. They did and wanted by the church. May I be in the room with you during this meeting?
The plan was for
I
you
fear
all
for
to
your
present
life.
me during the Interrecta.
Hmm.
I would certainly feel safer if I had you all at my side, and she kind of leans over a bit flirtatiously. Less jokingly, however, between the attack on our patrol and this, something worrying is brewing. There's a puzzle to unravel here, and I will need time. Alas, we have more important things to focus on. Was there anything else?
Airdrey's gonna look at Thane and Lydia. I feel like he's at least always a little suspicious of everyone. He's just, was there anything else? His eyes seem to say.
Fane has known Airdrie for a long time, and I think there's like a half look of not now, let me handle it. But it's the kind of look between people who have known each other for a long time that is not done in words, but like
yeah, it's just sort of like,
My lady, I would like to go ahead and vocalize. I know that you are quite aware, but not necessarily everyone in the council is, but I do not have good history with the church. I believe that there is a chance that they could be present at the interrectum.
The church?
So they're...
Here in the West?
It's a distinct possibility, given everything that we've seen so far. By your leave, I don't believe it wise that I show my face at the interrectum.
She gives you a look. It's somber, but knowing. That may perhaps be for the best. We'll split the caravan. Take a few of my guards with you and head off. Travel a few miles behind us. Don't get too lost, please. When we head for Salsmouth, which is where the interrector is held, you all would know, take a left town. There's a trade town just north there you can maybe stay at for a while. When we're all done, we'll come gather you. Be safe, please, friend.
My lady, again, I am going to argue that if there is still a threat at the interrectum, you should have as many forces as feasible. I am quite capable of staying hidden.
And you know I trust you more than most, but I worry still. Nonetheless, if you feel it best for you to travel alone, then you may do so. I am not your master or mistress, after all. You are all simply my aides.
You have a free hand if you wish. As company, if you so desire. But
Rio, I need you with me personally. The Metro will be patrolling around too much around the Interrecta for us to not get anything. If they're going to be there, then we need to gain everything that we can as far as information on them. I prefer you stay around with me if that's cool.
I was not referring to myself.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Ain't she
I would much feel safer for you if I was to stay here as well. And the hand he's referring to is Morgan.
Morgan,
his own personal assistant.
Except just, I am sworn to the court's aid. I will do as I must. Yeah. She waves it aside and just says...
That is completely up to Lydia, if she wishes to take that offer.
Now he waves it aside, for now, just... You all can discuss that at your own leisure, if you will. Your travels are your own wishes. Nonetheless, we should keep moving on down the road for now. I feel we lost a lot of time on that previous ambush, but thank you all for keeping me safe.
It is our duty.
The horses continue to clatter on and make their move. It's an overall quiet scene, and if there's nothing else that wishes to be shared, then I'm going to say a couple things happen. I'm going to set some scenes to make sure we really get this right. It is the night before the Interrecta. The caravan is approaching just outside of Saltsmouth as the birds begin to fade away and the day turns to a heavy night, stars high in the clouds painting a twilight against the landscape. It is here Lydia's horse breaks off, splits, and begins to break and head north, away. The rest of the caravan stop to make camp just outside of the city. It's a bit easier to maintain here with a guard this large, but you know that in the morning you'll quickly break and head towards Saltmouth to be treated perfectly fine as you make your way to the Interrecta. The night is quiet. Nothing much happens. Not a lot goes on. I am waiting on a roll from someone, so I need someone to check their DMs. I can't say who because it'd be a giveaway. So you should all just do it. And if you have me saying and tell you should make a roll, then you should just do it. You can do it in separately and let me know what you roll. But as that's happening, The night overall is quiet, and there is a peace that settles, but as the peace of gentle quiet, chirping crickets and low birds settle in as the horses are brought to a rest, there is an air. Thank you. There is an air that smells of tension, like just distantly in the wind. Not close enough for you to perceive it like it's around you, but as if the destiny ahead of all of you is eerily close, and it reeks of iron and blood. The next morning is the Interrecta, a massive open room in the middle of Salzmuth. It's a busy trade city, so there's populace everywhere, but they've given space for the local nobles to make their place comfortable. You are all in a massive tower overlooking the highest peaks of the trade quarter. You can see down into the market squares where people the size of ants flit about in places, gathering and trading and marketeering. It's the next day. By this time, those of you that have gathered up are here. The only person not present with the High Council is Lydia. Although, the strangest thing happens as you are all approaching. Everyone is gathering. A few things happen. To your left, a woman comes in. She is tall and strong, but has a short-cut hair of a sort of almost buzz like a military woman, but her muscular jaw is still bit down and tight. She walks in with two armed warriors with spear and shield, hard and heavy. You all recognize them as the Aldari detachment. That's definitely not Valet Longblade, their leader, but an emissary of hers, you assume. Next, an individual walks in. They look human. The dress they wear is fine and long. He is lithe and built, but has a sort of effeminate look to his face as he has soft makeup applied to make his sort of face look more soft. But you can see the scales beneath that. This is not a full-born dragon, any of you who are magically inclined can tell, but a half-blood, one of Jalthanaxe's brood, his red wake, likely his emissary. Other minor nobles file in from different places, individuals pour in. A couple strange things, though, happen. You all were possibly worried the Everlight Church might show up. They don't. As they all settle in and you near the time of the actual meeting, there's one extra seat there, but it's not filled by anyone you've recognized as a church delegate. It is, however, quickly filled by a door. Sorry. The seat isn't filled, but the door is open. Excuse me. The door opens. And in walks High Historian Lydia, who it's almost like somehow, some way was, informed as if you would assume a runner would have let her know, hey, the church is not here. As if nobody was careful enough to make sure that she knew that. She strides in, confident swagger in her step. She looks around at the assembled nobles. As she approaches the table, Naudi reaches to her neck and undoes a clasp and then digs into her blouse, pulls out a crystal pendant, which she then hands back over to Lydia very gently with a light nod. Lydia's seat is prepared for you with the rest of the House Vairdans sort of assembly, so you have a spot there. But it's almost before you can even really give a greeting to the rest of the council, to the note that you're there, that the door opens right back open, much more abruptly, and a single individual walks in. No guard, no assistants, nothing. Just a man. Relatively short in stature, but chest out. He wears fine yellow robes that trail long, long behind him. Has his hair done up in a high bun with a yellow ribbon dangling it off to one side. He strides in confidently, a sick smirk on his face, like he somehow just knows he's better than every single one of you in there. But now he makes a face because, well, and she says it out loud, the Metri family have no seat at the Interrecta. Why are you here? He says nothing, giving her this real Howard shit-eating grin, walks over to the open table, and just sits. Naudi.
Messer Lone,
Mhm.
what are you playing at? And I'm going to be clear. I'm not. That's Messer is not a noble title. I am making it very clear that he has no place here.
So, he cuts you a look, looks over at Naudi, just, Madame Vairdans, until the meeting is probably assembled, I advise you keep your assembly on a tight leash. She cuts a look at him. My counsel may speak as it pleases. Answer her. He kind of takes a step back, folds his hands. I'm not playing at anything, just making the proper move to assure that my family's ascension up these ranks is recognized.
Can you describe this person? Sorry, my voice. What is wrong with my voice? What the
Oh
fuck?
no! I hope you fix that.
Metri Loam.
Yeah. Here, I got a
100%
thing.
wild.
Here, there's a. So he is a lighter skinned male
Loam.
who has a makeup around his face with a light line with 2 dots up on his forehead, a few dots on his forehead. Again, he wears a very, very fine suit of yellow robes with blue highlights here. They trail far behind him. Initial descriptions you get from talking to him is just bit flamboyant, very, very braggadocious, and honestly kind of a dick.
Rio will will lean over to Adria and kind of say, "There he is."
She'll lean over and just, exactly as you planned, my lord. Should I have the agents deploy?
Not yet.
She looks and just, you always are a tease.
Yes, well, can't get too into it. So, sorry, my brain short-circuited there. I said what I said, and I recognized what I said.
I'm so proud of you.
And then
I'm so proud of you right now, Chouse. Great job. Let's keep it going. So yeah, as that sort of side conversation settles, the Metri, I guess no longer heir, but now leader, settles in. An attendant calls to order the interrecta. You all who have been here before know it's not a very formal affair. It's very much someone says, we start now. Everyone starts screaming until things get figured out. And then someone says, we're done now. Everyone go the fuck home. And as the start gets declared, it's quiet. No one says anything. Everyone's looking at Metri. You just, well, if there's the elephant in the room, I suppose I'll start big then. He pulls out a scroll from his robe, flattens it. It's a map of Cyprus, this area of territory off on the west. He begins pointing at towns. Mailstop, Rivenol, Alpengate, Guanamuth, Pharaoh Court soon enough, and Salzmuth right here. My family owns every tradesman, every industry, every lawkeeper, and half of the political force in these towns. We rule here. Why should we not have a seat here? Why should we not be a great house? Has the Metri family not served you all well? Given you fine deals and offered you the best both within and without the Gilded Coasts? Have we not all prospered under our family's guidance? Why should we not have a seat? You'll hear very notably, almost like it was intended to be audible, the woman who is the Aldari delegate scoff, loud as fuck, just and nothing else.
The accrued
just to be clear,
capital
he's-
can't
oh,
exactly
sorry.
be called ruling, can it?
Oh, probably not. But I suppose the idea would be it's just a matter of Simple pragmatism. I'm not asking you all to recognize our importance as a house. It's more that if you intend to have any business done in any of the towns I've pointed out in Cyprus, it'd be a shame if the Metri family were to declare your writs of trade invalid and tell our merchants not to do business with you. Cripple your economies. Any of you, right?
Yeah, may I vibe check this man to see if this is really what he's going after?
Of course.
May I insight this dude?
You can insight the
I
fuck
want
out
to
of him.
know. Oh, I plan to, because I get to add stuff to this. Oh, it's only a 17. Boo. I don't know. Just like, this seems like a pretty simple answer, and Airtray's about to just be like, I don't see why not. But that's way too simple. So he's like,
What you got for me?
what's the deal behind the deal? 17.
With a 17, you'd say he's definitely, his reasons all seem solid. He's definitely slightly, okay, not solid, as in like, he's not lying, he's not bullshitting. He's maybe overplaying the reliance you all have on Metri family trade, but the general idea of, I want to be recognized as a noble house and like have a seat here at this table appears to be his goal here. And I'll even let you further with that. Looking around the table, the minor houses, there's a mixed opinion. Some are kind of vocally saying like, yeah, I don't see why not. Others are just passively not looking. The man who appears to be here as a designate of the Crimson Order, doesn't care. Completely detached. Not like playing with his nails. Doesn't care at all. The Alderi woman is leaned back, has a flask open, takes a large sip, swigs. Methinks the brat's getting too big for his britches. And I've heard there's not a whole lot to get big down there.
Nah. Let me ask one other question. How does our side feel about that? Like Nauri? Like, how is she reacting to this quest?
She's eyebrow twitched once or twice. You know that
Mhm.
she's the kind of person that doesn't like to visibly show what she's thinking a lot on her face. So
Yeah.
her look is mostly stern, but you all would know that the relationship that House Vairdans has with the Metri family is one maintained of neutrality through trade. The deals you guys have are the reasons you guys have the relationships you do. You aren't outwardly hostile or anything like that, but
Yeah.
she's not really a big fan of the Metri family at all. She really could see this going either way. She's not really keen on, like, if they're recognized as a noble house, she's probably like, ugh, this sucks, but she's not like gonna fight tooth and nail against it. The Alderia woman, on the other hand, she doesn't look like she's buying this bullshit.
If that's the case, Airdray is just like looking around the room. Like, he's still on high danger. Someone may strike at any time mode. So he's now ignoring this conversation. It's like, whatever.
Well,
He's asked Reese to take good notes. That's it.
Fane is here to do politics.
Politics.
Fane is going to start off by asking, Messer Loam, are you familiar with the concept of the noblesse oblige? Let me spare you the moment of philosophy. It is the idea that a ruling party is under some kind of obligation to the people that they rule to make sure that their lives are conducted fairly and well. Now, as you said, you own almost everything in all of those places you mentioned. Maelstop, Guanamuth, Ferrocourt.
Soon enough.
What justification, what possible reason could you have owning all of the aspects of court that you own there? What reason is there for you to treat the people beneath you with anything measuring respect? Why would you not turn them to profit? That is not a right to rule. That is a tyranny of money.
It's productivity, love. I doubt forest folk would get it, but sometimes there are people who produce and people who are made to produce. I and my family are the former. The people who live in the cities and towns that we control are the latter. And they've produced well for all of us, have they not?
Is
We
it some
see-
kind of a history or a lore to see what are we aware of with the state of how his townsfolk are actually, what state are they
How did
in?
we treat his people?
I'm going to go ahead and say, if you're
How are
looking
they
for
faring actually? Like, how are his people actually faring under his rule?
if you're looking for public knowledge is everything's fine. The cities they live in do well. They're metropolitan centers of trade and wealth and everything. If you're looking for more specific, like how people on the ground actually talk about living there every day, well, you have some spies that were out doing there, so you might hear back from them in a little bit, and maybe they'll tell you.
I'm gonna say that, like, regardless of what comes back, for those of you watching at home, the Fey court is very much anti-governance
Hell yeah.
or direct governance, but also very much anti consolidation
And narco-syndicalist Faye.
and anti-capital.
Yeah.
Fane does not believe that the people who live in these cities are doing well. What she sees is mass poverty, an incredible stratification of their society, and it's antithetical to the Fey court's beliefs about how people should be treated and how people should live.
Well, so yeah, I think with your personal assumption, you could. If it's like your personal standpoint, Fane, you definitely have your own personal views on like how the people in these cities are being treated and sort of like what things are like for them, and you're more than welcome to sort of voice and view on them. Metri, honestly, at this point, just kind of is holding his shit-eating grin, almost like he's got some kind of card he's willing to play, but he's just kind of sitting there like, "Listen, we're in vigor as much as you want. My claim is simple. I should be recognized as a high house. If you can't make a solid argument against it, then I will simply invoke the simple claim that all of you took your properties by force. Is House Vairdans not at the end of a war against insurrectionists? Have you not put down rebels just now? You all hold your power at the end of a sword. I do mine at the end of a piece of gold. I can change that if I need to."
If you were
I'm
going
not
to
sure that is the state of affairs as it stands.
Yeah, Airdrie would laugh when he says that. He's not going to mention it, but he'll laugh out loud.
What's on the other end of that piece of gold? A sword held by another hand? Go ahead, Lydia. I'm so sorry.
If you were going to insist on being seated at this
Lydia, are you
interrecta,
not? I don't think Lydia's there, though. Is the problem.
No, she's there.
I'm there.
No.
Oh.
I'm there. I walked in
Fucking
like right
focus,
before everything.
Airdrie.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Never mind. My bad.
If you are going to insist on being treated as an equal to sit at this interrecta, then please, by all means, take your seats. I don't hear any complaints from the Lords of House whether or not to treat you as an equal, considering you do have trade with most all of us. If we're going to discuss, let us discuss as equals.
Everyone nods and seems to be okay with that. He backs off a bit. You hear from the other side, the Alderi delegation branch up. I have a problem with it. Brad's got no damn right. So what, he can fling some coin in some territory? Means nothing. We know what this is about ultimately. It's a power play. The rat wants to make his claim now, build up his army, and try to bully his way through our territory. He wants the pass. Loom doesn't
And
say.
would you rather that go through show of force where there are casualties on all sides, or would you rather have the negotiation?
The Alderi woman slams both her elbows down on the table. I'd love to see the whelp and his fucking sellswords try.
It's a waste of life.
A death in
And a
battle isn't a
waste
waste
of
of life
gold.
ever.
Waste of gold,
And a waste of
steel,
gold, says
waste of
Fane, looking
life.
over at Metri.
He does nod to that. And just... He'll say, I hate to say it, but our brash delegate over here is correct. This is a power play. With these lands in my territory, I officially have the claim that I need. The Alderi won't be able to keep our stake out of the Ildron Pass anymore. We deserve that territory. Just think of it for a minute. All the trade that can be made in and out of this land? Imagine. Verdani fish or pale fall silk traveled all the way as far north to south as we can take it, and all of us profiting off of it. And the only thing stopping it,
Fane takes that moment to like loudly cough up a pellet.
he
Just
stops.
interrupt him mid.
And the only thing stopping it's that woman and her ilk. Because they're too proud.
I want to know who he's pointing at with that
the
woman,
Aldari.
just to be clear.
The Aldari.
Okay.
She leans forward. The two soldiers who are behind her, who are still standing with the spears, kind of just clench in a bit more. And Jess, you're getting bold over there, whelp. He doesn't back down, but does kind of shift his stance a little bit. And there's sort of a pause that I think any of you can definitely take, do anything you'd like to. Otherwise, you think one of them might speak.
May I ask a question?
The Aldari kind of throws her head over.
Well, I'm trying to. What is the name of the Aldari attendant?
Well, you haven't gotten her name, but the leader of the Aldari overall is named Vele Longblade. You wager that by the look of this woman, she's definitely a Longblade, but not Vele.
I'm sorry, where I believe I do recognize the features of a member of the Longblade House. I haven't gotten your name. Why exactly have you closed off trade completely?
She looks back and huffs a bit. Ryza, she looks over. The trade folk are ill-fitting. If we let them through, they'll pollute our routes. You all think it's just goods passing through here, but we know the truth. The Metri family are dirty. All they're dealing in is dream dust. That's the real plan.
Be clear, that's a drug, right? Or is that a euphemism for something?
I don't know if you know.
Dream dust.
May I see if I know by rolling something?
Somebody here might already know. Maybe they should speak about it.
I mean, Airtray's not going to speak up because he doesn't want to interrupt any of this, and also he doesn't have anything to say. I want to know if he would know. Someone else can tell him if he doesn't.
Master of Espionage?
Yeah, no, Rio definitely knows. Because, he's walked that way of life. And so
Everybody's
in the
just kinda
trenches.
confused, like,
He's in the trenches.
also, he may or may not be the helping and profit directly from the trade of Dream Dust. But he's definitely not going to say that out loud in like the above ground world. So
you all do notice, though, Naudi does glance over at Rio. It's not like a menacing or like unknowing glance. It's almost a very knowing glance.
I think Lydia's going to continue with the question of Dream Dust. Can you please clarify for the rest of us? As
Just
I'm asking
It's a
if
hallucinogen
anybody
drug.
knows or doesn't.
Yeah. It's just they're keep speaking. It's a hallucinogen drug. Folk all over the realms are getting lost in it. I know we produce it here. I don't know how or where specifically, but if it gets out of the Gilded Coasts, those sacks get rich off of it. Metri these are wild claims, and I'm certain you've brought evidence to defend yourself in the case, yes? The Aldari just grunts at him.
I think AirJ would actually speak up. This isn't a case. This is a council of peers, and if we all believe them, that's bad for you. Evidence isn't necessary.
If this is a council of peers, then I'm beginning to feel attacked.
There's more of us than you. Peers outnumber an individual.
And would you all go to war with me right now? With the church bearing down on all our backs?
I may note that if you are to bar yourself from accepting any of our coins, there's not much stopping all of us here collected together to collectively bar ourselves from you and no longer accept any of your tokens or goods that you may trade. And as the collective outnumbers the single, your economy would absolutely collapse. Now, may I ask you this one question? Who will your merchants side with when they have bills to pay and mouths to feed as their children cry out, Father, we are hungry? Will
Damn.
they cling to
Damn.
you, or will they sell, taking our coin, taking our whatever currency we offer them in service of food, in service of shelter? Will they cling
Yeah.
to you and your loyalty as you so claim they may?
He leans back. I think you'll find Coin a better negotiator than most, but nonetheless, I sense I'm being outvoted. We can discuss the matter of my title some other time. The fact that I have a seat at this court is more than enough. I'll be satisfied with that. He looks over at the Alderi. I look forward to rigorous discussions with the more well-spoken of your kin. And I'm honestly going to mostly sort of settle that scene there, honestly. Well done, by the way, guys. You avoided outright conflict. Good job.
I didn't have to murder somebody?
You did it.
Wow!
I mean, that wasn't going to happen.
Sorry.
Okay, so settled on the idea that things will happen as other things are discussed with at the Interrecta. And if anything specific you guys want to have discussed here, we can talk about that in our post breakdown. It's not a problem. But I need us to cut to one last scene, and it's a bit of a flashback, loves.
Sorry, speaking that eloquently was really tough for me, and I have so much adrenaline flowing through me.
You were beautiful, friend. I'm very proud of you. We'll come back to that. Don't you
Chelsea
worry.
did great.
You did so awesome, dude. I'm so proud of you right now.
That was a solid monologue.
Don't worry. We'll come back to you. All right. We'll highlight that in a bit. Don't you worry. It is the night before the Interrecta. It is soft and quiet. A white horse slowly trots along a low path through an empty town. Taverns aborted mostly, save for a single eatery of some kind, which has a torch still blowing outside. Clearly the only building still functional at this point. There is an individual atop this white horse, long flowing gown down her form, black hair following her face. House historian Lydia Evermore moves through this small mountain town, not too far north of Saltsmouth, in the quiet. In the distance, a shadow, like a bird, goes overhead. I will say, here, let me set this a little bit better. Leah, it's not hard for you to tell that as you're moving through this town, every other building, save for this one directly down the road ahead of you, this small establishment of some kind, is closed. They're all boarded up. Everyone's gone to bed for the night at this point in time, except for that one building.
And she'll stop in front of the building. And are there windows to see inside, or have the windows been boarded and it's just lit?
There are shades so you can get light in and see some things. They break up a lot of it. They break up a lot of things. So you can't really see directly in. You can see that there are three figures inside. One is sitting at a table. Two are standing out at like another door nearby, like the other side of the establishment. As the shade of you covers over the light here, two things happen. One, you'll see that individual sitting in a chair throw their head to the side, and the other two will head out a back door, just leave. The second, that bird shadow passes over. Looks a little bit more human-like, though. And as, unfortunately, you've rolled an exactly 1 under their passive perception, Lydia, it doesn't take you long to recognize that that's a harpy shape. Someone's been following you.
I think that at this point there's like knowing that she's been seen, Fane
Does she?
basically like lands on a nearby cliffside and kind of nods as if to say, "Ball's in your court."
Well, Lydia doesn't actually acknowledge that she's seen anything. Might have glanced up at the shadow, and after piecing it together, doesn't acknowledge the form. She already said prior to leavings that she trusted Fane to keep a keen eye. So
Keeping the keenest eye possible.
keeping a keen eye. So she won't draw any more attention to Fane by acknowledging her, essentially, and just continues with the stroll through the town on her horse and then stopping outside of this.
You are now directly in front of the door. It's old, unlocked, clearly, and you can see the light behind it. But the two figures who were by the door, you can see they've clearly moved. There's now definitely only that one individual in the house. You're probably pretty sure they are.
She'll she'll stop off and get down from her horse and tie the line, actually kind of loosely, to the bridle stand by the door, and prompts the horse, "Get out of there." Sorry, my cat's being a menace.
Hi, Raja.
The horse is trying to get stuff in your saddles, actually.
Exactly. I have a couple of treats that
Adorable.
it's
I
trying
love
to
that.
get, but prompts the horse to just plop a couple of times. Encourage it to be kind of like uncomfortable so that it gives off
Yeah, it shakes a little bit.
a very subtle signal to indicate that there are 2 additional people to my eyes in the sky.
Mm.
So I imagine that she is a harpy. She does have some absurd hearing.
Oh yeah, you're definitely pretty easily able to tell Thane by the signals given off that she indicates to you that there are 2 other people who clearly stepped out of the back. And as you shift your eyes over to the other side of the building, you can see 2 armored individuals step out sort of into the night, turn and just stand there. They don't appear to like having like nefarious goals or anything. They're just guarding.
And she'll step into the building.
You step into the building. The eatery is empty. All the chairs and tables put up away and put to sides, save for one, a single table with 2 chairs. The first, closest to you, empty, with a red kind of hanging drape around it. The other, similarly decorated, has a man seated in it. His mahogany bronze skin, punctuated only by a macabre gathering of scar tissue covering over the right side of his head. Even beyond that, it's not hard to see the chisel in his jaw, the stern look in his honey brown eyes, a wreath of metallic feathers with gold inlets hold a ponytail of flowing, bright silver hair down his back, gold earrings accentuate his ears, and he is decorated not in armor, but in simple fine robes of pure white with accents of red. He looks at you with a face that shifts through emotions far too rapidly. We'll play out just a few bits of this scene as he looks at you, and for the first time in a very long time, with something that looks like charisma but falls apart into wonder halfway through, Crusader Lord Iman Talem, Lord of the Everlight Church, looks at you and says, "Hello, my light. I did not know you were still alive."
Well, it seemed you had a pretty good idea given the letter that you sent me, Amon. Or would you prefer Crusader Lord?
Formality is not needed for you, and I apologize for the deception. I needed to speak with you, needed to know what happened to you. He kind of freezes on the next sentence, tries to get it out, and then stops himself, holds it back. You are well?
As well as I can be.
I suppose we all are. For now. I have plans to better this world. But you knew that already.
You're already mobilizing the elves, aren't you?
More than that. War is coming to this place.
The question is, how far are you going to get before you pause to take a breath at this point?
He looks.
You're moving north. You're mobilizing south. I imagine rises on the horizon.
You were always so very perceptive.
It didn't take long to figure out what your tactics were.
It's almost insulting.
A few years together kind of figures that out, helps you with that process.
He looks, kind of narrows his eyes at you. There is certainly no one on this planet who knows me the way you do. And there's a definite malice in that. I didn't come here to reminisce, though. I came here for pragmatism. He leans forward. I will clarify very simply. I will burn this place. This castle you call Westreach. This home you call Tolmere. I will burn it. I will murder the men. I will break the women. I will turn those who are willing to the church's name, have them preach the creed of the flame, and those who do not follow the creed will be put to it. And that is
So
also
you'll burn them just like God's rest.
God's rest was not my doing, and you will not speak of that place again, or I will strike you down here.
What happened after that?
I found the truth.
Enlighten me.
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
I would. It seems that the church has altered its creed. Some new revelations.
He leans forward. I will. I will enlighten all of you. In time. But for now, you lost the right to ask anything of me years ago. Filth.
Is the only reason that you asked for this meeting was so that you could... What does this threaten me?
No,
Make it known?
I came to offer you an out.
An out.
Flee this place. Pack your things, gather whatever trinkets you have in your care, and leave. Just like you did then. Be gone, and never let me see your face around here, or I will split it with my axe.
I am not going to spend the rest of my existence running. Least of all from you, Iman, and your church, and whatever magical entity that you happen to cross. My priority has always been to preserve life and to understand it. You might not believe that, but that is my fundamental truth. And I am staying in Tolmere. I'm going to continue to serve House Vairdans as their historian. And help as many people as I can. If that means contesting you in the church, then I will do it.
He lifts an arm. There is a rumble. Floorboards split, and through it rises a twin-headed axe bedecked in gold with almost white metal edges, which leaps into his hand. Then, in seeking to preserve life, you will die with the rest of them. Preserve life. Preserve life. Like you preserve them! Get out. Get out now or I'll kill you.
Away in the trees, at the shimmer of light and even the slightest sound, there's a bow of lightning and spider silk with an arrow crackling with energy pointed through one of the windows.
Just pokes on through.
Hi.
Single red dot appears on his forehead. He does not. He does not know it.
He doesn't speak anymore.
I-
His look is a little deranged almost, but he holds the axe in his hand and trembles. But yeah, after the outburst, he doesn't say anything else.
She looks very sad. Like, she usually has a very collected composure, but even up until this point, it was very collected. It was very straight-faced, but now she just looks sad. And says, I can't apologize enough times. I can't tell you how many times that I regret it, because it will always fall on your deaf ears. I know that it.
Sorry, go ahead, please.
I know how painful it is, how much you likely remember it, but it is going to burn with me for the rest of my existence. And I hate to say it, but it will long outlive you. I am glad to see that you are alive after all of that, Iman. But if we are to continue to keep at least some semblance of peace, I will go ahead and take my leave.
He throws his head towards the door. He doesn't say anything as you rise. It's only just as you're leaving past the door frame that I'm going to need you to roll a quick little insight check, if you don't mind, right before we get out of here.
That is an 18.
Then there is two things you hear. The first thing you hear specifically is a low mumble that sounds like it's a question, but it's clearly not meant to actually be loud enough for you to hear it. But it's weird. You remember him more composed, maybe, but he does still mumble it. And the first thing you hear is, do you even remember their names?
Give me a moment.
You got it.
Look that down.
Saving you trouble.
She pauses and speaks aloud. Alma and Kale.
He looks up.
I remember teaching them how to cook. I remember you training with them in the yard. Don't call into question my memory. Like I said, I'm the one who's carrying it.
And as you move to step out, the last thing you see is him look up to you, eyes bloodshot almost, a single tear leaking from them, but it's not clear, it's thick red. And as they slowly pour one and then another, he says out loud to you, voice slowly growing more unhinged, "The last thing you say to me will be their names." And, I think we'll, go ahead and close on that scene. How's that sound, friends? It's a little bit late for us. Well, I am going to go ahead and thank you all for being here for the inaugural session of Against the Light, a Kingdoms and Warfare story that has already gone pretty off the fucking rails. I love this fucking group. Y'all are great. Y'all are... We'll talk about it. We'll get to that in the post-call. Let's get y'all the fuck out of here first, all right? Friends, let's do a reverse overlay order. So we're going to start ourselves off with Tate, swing ourselves around the clock until we get to Vermin. So we'll start off with Tate. I'll call you off one at a time. Say who you are, who you played today, where the internet can find you, and please let us know what else we can find you in the next couple of weeks. Tate, whenever you're ready. Go ahead, babe.
Twitch, my name's Tate Washburn. You can find me at kinda_writing on Twitter. It's mostly me just BSing about like video games and writing and tabletop and a lot of memes and some politics. What you should really do is follow this channel on Twitter at Neon Lights Roleplay. Yep, Nightbot has it going. Also, definitely visit us on our Discord because like that's where we pull players and talk about stuff. And even in some of our campaigns, there's special like links and things that you can find if you're on the Discord. Because speaking of which, you can find me next Sunday on this channel at running the Violet Sea campaign, which is a custom system that I have made, and we're going to see how long that goes. It'll be great. Actually, I love all my players in it. They'll definitely carry me.
We're moving right around. Let's go ahead and bring it to the ever-secretive House Historian. Meg, take it away.
Hello, everybody. I am Meg Mysteria, and I got the pleasure of playing Lydia Evermore tonight, who... Well, we don't quite know everything, although some people are very bent on outing everything.
What are you talking about? Nothing happened. What are you talking about?
Not a single thing happened at all.
Nothing happened.
Ever.
What are you talking about?
No,
Nothing
there's no
happened.
history.
Nothing happened.
Nothing
There's
happened.
No
nothing.
history.
This world
no
was
nothing.
created today. There's nothing.
All right. Nothing happened.
Sorry.
All right. It's not real. Nobody's. It's not real.
No,
It's not. It's not real. Okay. Any case.
But as far as where you can find me in the Neon Lights Roleplay server, on TBK server, at Meg Mysteria, in both Discords, on Twitch, on Twitter, on Itch. As far as where you can find me next, it looks like we have a couple of one-shots in the works that might be coming up with TPK. We're doing an off-screen recording next weekend for Core Hearts, but after that,
Yeah, also done that.
in about 3 weeks, I'm not gonna double confirm the date yet, but we'll come back around for our monthly session of The Hubris of Man, my alien RPG campaign that I am running over on TPK Roleplay server.
That shit slaps. It's super good. You should definitely watch
Excellent
it.
name, honestly.
It's real
The
good.
Hubris of Man.
It's real
Yeah.
good. You should watch it. It slaps. It slaps. It's fire. Personal Foxy seal of approval. Anyway.
But take it around.
All right. Chios. Swinging it over to you.
It's me then. Alrighty, I have been Chouse. I've been playing our... Would it be sharp-tongued?
I don't know.
I wouldn't classify it that, but just like...
I don't know. I don't it.
Yeah,
I don't it.
eloquently spoken rogue, who really what has been itching, but that will probably be handled next session. You can find me, well, here on Neon Lights Roleplay and also TPK Roleplay. Hopefully, I will be. You will be able to see even more of me if all my plans actually work out. But yeah, that's really all.
Yeah, and I guess that swings us back around to us, folks. That leaves us with me. If you don't know who I am by now...
Thank you.
Wait,
You might be.
What?
I'm skipping people all day.
Okay.
All night I'm skipping people. I just don't like y'all. That's all it is.
This is Harpy Erasure.
It's Harpy Erasure, and I apologize for my bigotry. Vermin, go ahead.
What's up, everybody? I'm Legendary Vermin. You can find me as Legendary Vermin on all the places on the internet that matter, which is, of course, Itch, Twitch, and Twitter. I am a game designer. You can find my games on Itch. I am a person with bad opinions. You can find my bad opinions on Twitter. And I'm mostly on Twitch to do stuff like this. If you're ever curious when I'm going to be on a Twitch stream next, you can go to legendaryvermin.com/live. and find a general list of all the stuff that I'm going to be in. The next thing that I'm here for the next thing I'm on Twitch for is the next episode of Against the Light. But I will be on TBK Roleplay on Monday, February 7th for the 6th episode, I believe, of Madness Calls It Forth. I will be... the Monday after that, I will be coming back for a special Valentine's one-shot, including everybody who helped ruin the last episode of the first season of The Top Shelf. Be so excited for that, because that stream was not a train wreck, but like emotionally
Chaos.
it was a train
Beautiful
wreck.
mess.
It was great. It was really good. We're
Beautiful
leaning
mess.
into the aesthetic. We're doing a dating show with characters that you may have seen us play in other games. It's
That's
going to be
amazing.
really fun.
Can't wait for that.
And
It
then,
does sound great.
of course, a short 2 days later, on February the 16th, I will be back for Hubris of Man. If you like seeing me on streams, just know that I have lots of prosthetic features that I do for all of my characters,
cool.
because I
Yes.
can't be helped.
Hard approval.
I think that's all I got.
If that's what it takes to get you into character, I totally get it.
All right, and now that I'm not busting in on anybody's scenes, I'll say, folks, I'm Young Foxy, aka Big Foxy. I'm your favorite Fox. You can find me on Twitter sphere at Big Foxy. That's BIG_FOXXII. I don't go right wingers. I slay fascists. I have a good time doing it. The next place you'll see me personally is... I guess next Wednesday, right back here on Neon Lights Roleplay for After the End, my Off-Worlder story. Bring tissues and an alcoholic beverage and maybe a loved one you want to hold. But after that, you'll see me over on Penny for a Tale for the launch of Into the Stormlands, a Pathfinder 2E campaign. I have built just the cutest little edgelord. It's going to be great. I'm excited for that
Little
campaign.
Spider boy.
Exactly. It's great. It's going to be a good time there. Outside of that, then I'm back on TPK Roleplay the day after that, so you're getting so much Foxy next week. Because I'm back on TPK Roleplay the day after that for the return of Cold Hands, Warm Hearts, back to being the biggest, baddest robot in Azarus, ready to give group hugs to everybody, because that's what I do. And then, like was said, that Saturday we got a Core Hearts recording. So, you know, had a bitty weekend for a lot of my characters. A lot of them are up to some shit, huh? But yeah, so honestly, that's really it for us.
I would say also, I believe Tuesday.
And then the day
on
after
this
that,
channel,
I'm
but
on
not
Violet
knowing
Sea.
us. Yep, on Sunday, but also this Tuesday we have a Naruto show coming up, right?
Oh yeah, you're right about not this Tuesday, but the first.
Oh, next Tuesday.
2 Tuesdays from now.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 Tuesdays from now. So
Ah.
yeah, so basically, after you see that whole long weekend of Foxy doing all kinds of Foxy stuff, come back on the 1st for the Coalition of Steel in session for A Blade's Will when they do their thing. That's going to be super awesome. A lot of nonsense coming in. It's going to be a crazy January and a crazier February. That's all we got, though. Thanks you folks for being awesome and for hanging out with us. We will be back here in exactly 2 weeks at 8 p.m. Eastern, ideally on time next time. But thank you for hanging out. We're going to throw our raid over to Tabletop Anthologies. They are playing some D&D over on their channel. We're going to go give them some love and some hype. Please stick around for the raid, as you guys have been awesome. Thank you all for hanging out for the inaugural session, for putting up any nonsense, chat bugs, technical issues, or player jitters, or GM jitters, I guess. You guys have been awesome. We have been Neon Lights Roleplay, and you all should take care and have a wonderful night. Bye-bye!
Is Spree taking us out? Are we gone? Okay.
No, you gotta, you're supposed to put the integrator on
Oh.
first, and then you, okay. You gotta go over the spree.
We got all that on camera.
Like we said.
We gotta go over the spree. It's been a while since you stream, man. We gotta go over these fucking things, dude. Jesus Christ.
You gotta get a
I
bit
really
down
appreciate
on the
that I said
timing.
I'd be like, "Are we got? Did spree set is over?"
Are we gone?
Wait, are we